friends and bees and friends who are also bees. It's always nice to see that your bot has posted the schedule thing before you tab back into OBS, so you know that it's not dead. Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Indie Saturday ? Because I've got like 4 more weeks to kill before the Neo remake comes out, and also I didn't feel like picking up a new like long game, I decided that brilliant. I decided for the next couple of weeks I'm going to be playing through the routes of Heaven Will Be Mine that I haven't played through. So there are 3 more character routes. Basically I have 3 more routes to play through to get all the endings and all the characters and everything. It's been ages since I played this game, so I can't remember much about it. But nonetheless, let us swap over to the game to play. As always, you're going to have to let me know if the audio is too loud or too quiet. I was futzing about with it earlier and I think it's alright, but I only tried it on this screen, so if it's terrible, let me know. Also, whenever I click out the game, it like minimises itself and the sound stops, so I apologise in advance for that. I also apologise, I am getting the beginnings of a headache. I have just taken a painkiller which will hopefully nip it in the bud, and given that I started late because I don't know how to manage my time, I'm hoping to keep going till about 8:15 my time, but we'll see. We'll keep going until I finish the route, I think, is the way that I'm going to do it. So I'm going to hit new game. Am I? I am going to hit new game because my last playthrough was my Saturn playthrough. I already knew who were playing through, by the way, although I love Saturn with all my heart and soul. We are playing through as LUNA-TERRA, the Memorial Foundation ace pilot, fighting for the pilots to join the rest of humanity back on Earth before it's too late. Good at sniping, espionage, double-crossing, ghosting, bad at loving herself, everything else. I feel like close to LUNA-TERRA. I love Saturn with all my heart and soul. I think she's like, she represents all of us, but I also really like LUNA-TERRA. Pluto is hot and scary, so we're saving her for last. So let's start with as LUNA-TERRA. From the Division of Existential Safety, conflict-enabled ship self-archetype model, first flight July 16, 1969, place of manufacture, Sea of Crises, Earth's moon, a hope for a throne for the soul, to the Memorial Foundation International Space Program and all humanity. But with a hot second. I apologise. I want to hide my mouse. There we go. Until no one is forgotten and all are remembered. Registering pilot. Welcome, pilot first class LUNA-TERRA. Error, multiple maintenance issues, critical errors detected. Notice, lots of permissions are blocked until addressed. I'm actually going to turn this down a little bit because it seems really loud to me, so. List errors. Maintenance errors. Possible sensor failure. Several limb connections are not registering. No weapons are loaded. Critical errors. Mass alert 1. Healing failure on critical area near core. Possible bleed. 2. Tidal core is resonating at levels harmful to the pilot. Ready manual firmware update. Upgrades detected. Syncing. Accepting manual internal mechanism firmware update. Switched ammunition to conceptual mode. Custom sensors loaded. Dynamic limb optimization loaded. I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to leave it at that level because I always forget that what seems loud to me does not seem loud on stream, so please let me know if the music is too loud, or too quiet for that matter. I hate doing audio, I'm so bad at it. The repeat quiet is because I'm like tapping around to try and fix it. Custom sensors loaded, dynamic limb optimization loaded. A 1981.1.7 weapon loadout drivers loaded. Details, mass alert 1. I bleed too. Recording derived from a data burned 4-dimensionally into the wound. Suffered by this unit almost 1 year ago. Wound self-generated by forced overloading, tearing the core open during sustained conflict in the Mars-Ares regression campaign. All critical systems have naturally healed, yet the wind continues to bleed into space. Fuel efficiency lowered, healing speed reduced, and tidal reactor speed cannot be regulated, leading to possibility of overload and increased pilot strain. It is strongly recommended that you seek the assistance of a full maintenance team. A lack of understanding of the full effect of this gravitational conflict on the human gestalt means that this computer cannot provide adequate instructions on therapeutic measures. Permanently disable, mass alert 1. Really ignore? Yes. Provide reason. I can handle it. Automatic scan alerts show that this may not be a very good reason. Would you like to provide another? No. Mass alert 1 disabled. Details, mass alert 2. Tidal reactor has had an unauthorized modification that is causing unsustainable chain reaction. The ship is not equipped to handle prolonged operation at this capacity. Increasing short-term output may cause long-term failures. Loss of gravitational stability may cause fracturing and instability in pilot. Permanently disabled, mass alert 2. This mass alert cannot be disabled by pilot authorization. MFP code, blah blah blah. Alert disabled. For record-keeping purposes, please input the reason. I'm fine. Ship self Crises is in spacefaring condition. You are cleared to launch. Disable launcher OS and engage catapult. All controls given to pilot. This is a message for you. Cancel. Refused. This message will be automatically played. Letting you keep this as my gift to you, LUNA-TERRA, your favourite and loosest leash. Prove to me you've learned not to choke on it. Incoming message. Standing orders updated. If it's that urgent, it's too late. If it's not too late, it can wait. Let me enjoy the view of the rings. They are beautiful, even though there's only so long you can watch them before even the sight of the 6 planets' rings becomes boring as a blue sky. Crises sensors render them in every detail, using every sense, as perfectly as she always has. Really are getting old, aren't you? Both me and you. Should probably listen to Control and throw you out and get a new one. But that doesn't seem right. You're only supposed to get one body. Even if I haven't been very good to you, I could never throw you out. All we've got. The Crises is a test-type model. It was made as a proof of concept. It isn't the first vessel made to grant humans locomotion and life in space, but it is the first to allow for outward expression. In all kinds of ways. It can do so many things. And they gave it devices for everything, because they hadn't estimated how powerful tidal engines would become, or what sorts of things humans would really want to do in space. It's the first machine meant for conflict, but it's also the last machine that was meant for other things, too. A ceremonial tin soldier, made to impress. An impossible-to-use machine. Mind machine or biofeedback interfacing is necessary to give humans control over a second body, but the Crises is done completely manually. It makes LUNA-TERRA sort of a genius and sort of an idiot, that she can't do things any other way. I'm having so much fun. It's hard to believe this is going to be over so soon. No, I love it when old things are over. And new things begin. Open the channel. Let's hear those standing orders. January 1st, 1980. And the long and cold war, where humanity united against its nemesis, an existential threat from beyond the stars, has been over for a long time. Since the 50s, we've been fighting a war against an existential threat that we cannot understand, cannot perceive, and is powerless against the technology of Earth. This is a pretty stupid sort of war to fight, isn't it, when there's enough of a mess down here to worry about. Humanity is already the undisputed authority of reality, and we have the physics to prove it. It's time to return to Earth, our home, the seat of the universe. Before Earth takes us back in pieces, let's go home with grace. On the first anniversary of the decommissioning of the International Space Programme, we, Memorial Foundation Native Sphere Existential Safety, in agreement with our home planet's unanimous decision, declare, there is no future for humanity in space. Let's come home. I'll check something super quickly. Please be patient with me. Okay. Okay, what's on my Sorry, I wanted to check a thing. Thing has been checked. January 1st, 1981. It's been 1 year since we declared independence from Memorial Foundation in the rest of Earth. The Cold War is officially over, and it feels so light without their gravity weighing us down. How can a tiny handful of colonies, terraformers and schools hold out against the full authority of Earth? Because that shit doesn't fly past escape velocity. To power the ship sails we made to fight the Cold War, we made tidal resonators to bring the gravity necessary for humans and culture to survive in space. And that gravity is ours now. Enough to make a new world, free from the weight of Earth. If the Memorial Foundation wants to kill the future, they'll have to come and take it from us. We're thankful for our cradle's graces, but we're not coming back. God, I've got shivers already. I forgot how much I genuinely love this game. I also had the abrupt thought that I feel like this game would pair really well with If Found. And not just because If Found is one of the best games that I played last year, but kind of because it is. It's January 25th, 1981. Memorial Foundation and Cradle's Graces have been having fun for a little over a year, and nothing is going to break the stalemate. Earth is getting impatient. They have good reason to believe that the existential threat posed by divided humanity in space is much greater than any theoretically malevolent entity outside the native sphere. While the kids are thriving, Earth is getting ready to list the humans remaining in space as part of the existential threat, and when they do, they'll send real weapons and end this war fought with plastic toys. Their justification? We are technically less than 100% human, just not human enough to be something else. It's hard to believe they're really onto us. It's time to make a drastic move. Bring our final piece, the prototype ship-self string of pearls we made in the atmosphere of planet Cronus, which will never be sat in, to the lunar gravity well, where Memorial Foundation and Cradle's Grace is already headed. Whoever controls that place controls human access to space. We can be sure everything will be in place there. Earth or space, we are just sort of 100% human. Let's see how much less than 100% we can get. Day 1. Okay, I can turn my audio back up. There we go. Your backpack. I don't want to save it for my Saturn saves. So we are going for Memorial Foundation. I think is the one that I'm trying to get. Yes. Okay. So you really have betrayed us, haven't you? I've never betrayed anyone in my entire life. Ha ha. But seriously, whose side are you on right now? Talking to Europa, Director of Combat Operations at MF, Existential Safety, not your mum. Ah, sounds so accusatory to put it like that, you know. I'm fine with you being on whoever side you choose, so I can destroy them and drive you back to me. That may end up being a lot of people. What, you don't think I'm up for it? Don't worry yourself about that part, kitten. Turn this up again. There we go. If you want me to defect back, you could always just ask. Oh, sweet girl, I'm not interested in you coming back so you can walk away again. How many times did Halamidi fall for that? Shouldn't count as tricking her if she knew it was coming every time. Stop it, I hate when you're modest. It's so beneath you. Give her at least the dignity of a subtle seduction. I would have. That's not what she wanted. She really ought to think about her reputation more. And what more is there to say about the trail of messes you leave? But my disappointment in you both is total. My adorable failures, what am I to do with you? Should go easy on her. I live to spoil her. Make no mistake that everything she deserves will be visited on you. I wouldn't dream of not letting you have that. You have to know by now how aware I am of what you want and what you deserve. You're so good to me, Europa. I don't deserve it. When I double-cross you again, be sure to really let me have it. I hope you do. But I take no chances with loyalty. Halamidi merely hopes you will change. Think it's charming that even you believe that might have some effect on you, but I know you much better than you, kitten. I won't let you return, no matter how much you beg, until you have no other choice. When you can't pivot or run or trick your way through, when you can't second guess or lie, that's the only way to change that nature of yours. atmosphere of our home planet. It is not the physical body which is called Terra, the home of life. It is not measured in mass or by its gravity, its position in the universe. Earth is us. We measure Earth by culture. We are the Earth, humanity the particles of its mass, and by our gravity its body is formed. By our diversity and multiplicity, Earth exists. The living miracle of humanity's shared power, insignificant unless we are joined. This international space program, with representatives all across Earth, represents our commitment to peace, that humanity will never again seek to destroy itself. That humanity has the right to eternal life, invincible bodies, and unrestricted movement in space, as humanity expands beyond this sphere, as extensions of the universal human rights of life, culture, and freedom. To protect the growth and sanctity of all culture, ensure a future for humanity, and the defeat of our enemy. On this day, we inaugurate the International Memorial Foundation Space Program. It's called War Ace Reports, LUNA-TERRA. She was unremarkable. I didn't remember her at first. We took any of those who wanted badly to live in space and did not fit in Earth. In retrospect, we were asking for a rather unique quality, and it's not just a coincidence that she was there. The pilots had to be young adults, pacifiscal, and not care what space might do to their body. It's not so surprising that someone like her would emerge from that pool of people, but the woman you know today has been iterated on since she was an adolescent. Be assured, I saw nothing of promise in her when I first met her. I told her that myself, as I told all the students. I'm uninterested in your potential. We are judged by the self we create. I find that encourages brats to not take their specialness so seriously. That was not LUNA-TERRA's problem. Piece by piece, she created someone very interesting to me. We gave those children permission, and LUNA-TERRA was simply unique in her execution. She was never encouraged. She was never punished. We will never find another prodigy like LUNA-TERRA by looking for tidily sensitive children, because they do not exist. We will not find them pre-made. They must create themselves. Was this not the dream of the Memorial Foundation? Guessing this is from San. Think so cool, don't you? Well, watch your back, because I'm coming for you. Think that #1 position is going to last? Not a chance. In fact, why don't we have a little duel about it, if you're not too scared? Come meet me in the shadow of Olympia Mons, and I'll make sure this time you're the one that's splattered and helpless and pinned on the side of the mountain, and not me, like the last 9 times. Also, would it kill you to, stick around for a bit after? Smug jerk. Not that I'm planning on losing. This time I'm going to beat you. The feeling I've done that one already, so let us do retrograde and retrograde. What's going on? You've been pestering me with orders, so what's the sudden hold-up? Central said to launch immediately. We have to get to the Celestial Mechanics Lab regardless of whether or not the prototype is already gone. There's valuable information there, but it's worthless if Cradle's Crises gets there first. Have some patience, LUNA-TERRA. The Cradle's Crises carrier just launched a completely unknown ship self. This can't be right. A person can't pilot a ship that big. The tidal resonance should tear the pilot apart. Is this impossible? I hope. I've never seen anything like it. I know you can't fight it, LUNA-TERRA, so don't even think about it. Any better ideas? It must be headed for where the prototype launched, right? Where else? Because they have to know that it already escaped. Don't underestimate your opponent, LUNA-TERRA. Scavenging the lab may be useful anyway. We should have gone there, for information if nothing else. Even against an unknown and objectively stronger enemy? What makes you so sure, LUNA-TERRA? No particular reason? Or a single particular reason? Haha, still don't trust me? Don't assault your former instructor, LUNA-TERRA. I knew how much to trust you before you betrayed us to Cradle's Graces. My opinion hasn't changed because we welcomed you back into the fold. My best pilot and worst student, you've never been unpredictable except in your consistency for trouble. But it's a reliable metric. You're right, you know me. So if you're worried, don't have to let me have free rein like this. Since you were a kid, from your earliest academy days, you've never been able to look in my eyes and lie. You only got away with anything by keeping your mouth shut. Very unlike Pluto, the hope of Cradle's Graces. She could lie right to my face with a smile if she thought it was for the best. Pluto extended the wildest expectations of the pilot program, so much that it was decommissioned in part because of her. If Celestial Mechanics have successfully built a monster that can withstand her, this engagement will end in disaster. And that is much more terrifying than this machine you're so eager to fight. That concerns me far more than you betraying us, or fighting a battle you can't possibly win. I don't think any of you really understood what you were doing. Pluto is unreal. She's far more overwhelming than any of you understood. If that ship is unworthy of Pluto, it's going to be torn apart under the pressure of her, not the other way around. Pluto is the only real human being. No wonder she feels so alien when she looks at us. You want me to let you take an impossibly dangerous mission because you think you can save our enemy? What can I say to that? Maybe she can teach you the lesson I can't. Like waking up for air, to the wet burn of your lungs, waking up underwater, to the wet burn of your lungs, desperation for air. Like floating untethered in space, unable to move under your own power. Losing the security of gravity is like being naked in space. Gravity is necessary for human life in space. Gravity is necessary for unrestricted movement in space. Can't have one without the other. The force that binds your existence together, the force to shape foreign bodies, pure agency. Gravity is necessary not just to live in space, but to be human in space. But being human is a little harder for Pluto, so she has to work for it. The tidal forces of her spacefaring body, the crune macula, are as strong as she believes and as weak as she feels. And LUNA-TERRA needs to make sure that all the calculations are in order. Everything in her ship operates manually. She's just been at it long enough that it feels like a second skin. The jolt of nostalgia interrupts LUNA-TERRA's mental maths. She forgets to carry the one. It interrupts Pluto's focus, and she has a moment where she's not invincible. Close enough to touch the surface of the moon lab, LUNA-TERRA is seen and known by Pluto, and they are suddenly falling down the well of too late and nothing you can do. Sorry. I knew it. Warning, gravitational interference. It's important to get a grip. Knowing there's nothing you can do is something Pluto considers freeing, and LUNA-TERRA considers exciting. Feeling doomed has clear permission to do whatever. As soon as the Crises is through the cloud cover, she fires solid light into the remains of the Celestial Mechanics lab and chases it through the wound. The lab was recently damaged by the illegal launch of a hijacked ship, but that damage is barely noticeable compared to the massive hole left by a much, much larger ship crashing through. LUNA-TERRA acts fast under pressure. If there's no point in hiding, there's no point in stopping. It's true. LUNA-TERRA is living on the whim of the crune macula, which can probably do whatever to her at any time. If she can't run away, she wants to make the first move. And it's the sort of thing that makes a lot of sense if you think about it, and no sense at all if you think a little more. But that's LUNA-TERRA, isn't it? She's betting you'll think too much or not enough. Against Pluto, is that really such a good idea? She's someone who always thinks just enough, which makes it easy for LUNA-TERRA to slip through, deep into the lab, until it gets quiet except for the sounds of the moon quaking and trembling. After almost a year, the dread and the thrill is way too much to slow down and start talking. That's what the arrow flying into Pluto's gravity well is saying. So who will make the first move? When LUNA-TERRA punctures the last armor layer and opens up the terminal cavern, light spills out and screaming sound, because the crune macula is peeling the lab and most of the moon inside out with the forces of its own tides. It's not something that's impossible or anything, it's just something that's only possible in theory, which is still terrifying. More terrifying. The reason my voice keeps breaking is because I love the writing of this game so much, because it is written in a way that just appeals to me on a visceral level. I don't know how to describe it. Just everything about it appeals to me on a deeply visceral level. It is very, very good, is what I'm saying. And more terrifying than that power is Pluto's finesse. And more terrifying than the finesse is her gentleness, spooling matter-like threads in the tiny galaxy of which she is the sun. Her power is very kind, but it's also a little perverse. What meaning does mercy have from something that can core out a moon? Crune macula's developers compared it to a black hole. They wanted a machine so powerful and absolute even light couldn't escape it. LUNA-TERRA understands now that that was wrong. She's a star, gushing and twinkling with matter and light. Who wouldn't be swept up in that? The Crises was so small. Pluto has never seen it from a perspective like crune macula's before. She never imagined it would look so fragile from here, like a toy version of the fierce fighter she remembered. Pluto's sense of scale is true. LUNA-TERRA feels just like a plastic toy too. Come on, say something. It's making me sad. I think about the ship selves a lot, and this is gonna sound really hipster and pretentious for me, the relationality of body, I guess. The way that the string of pearls feels almost unreal in a sense, but also in the same way like a direct extension of one's body, like stepping directly into a different skin, whereas Crises is sort of smaller and old and so almost outdated and purely mechanical and really almost a nostalgia piece. and then Crimmacula is overwhelming, and I feel like it obviously it matches their personalities so well. The idea of, you know, the overwhelming ship belonging to somebody who is overwhelming, you know, the retro ship belonging to somebody who has been there from the start and is very much, you know, the war hero / betrayer, and then the second skin belonging to somebody who is very much, you know, the description, fighting style, that mashing buttons, bedroom style, mashing buttons, it's just, it's so good. Come on, say something. It's making me sad. It really does fit you. So much more than I ever thought. Is it hard to look away? Being able to render you speechless is the power I've always dreamed of. What do you think? I know just a look won't change your mind, but I want you to tell me. Tell you what? That I regret betraying you? I told you then that I always would. No, I won't let you do that, Lunatic. Don't you think I'd be mad? I mean, of course I'm mad at you, but not for anything you did to me. I wouldn't ever be mad at you for not having enough faith in me to see through Cradle Grace's dream of a new home for humans in space. I'm just mad at you for not having enough faith in yourself to see it through, and leaving all the work to me. I guess that is why I'm a little upset with you. Not mad, you know, just disappointed. Can't believe I'm still the one scolding you like a kid. I'm trying to be the grown-up, you know. I did the responsible thing. I took the realistic option. I'm here to play the part of the boring adult, the grown-up villain. Oh, that's right. I remembered why I actually am mad at you. You better not go down quietly. You better really believe what you just said. I'll forgive you if you left us for something stupid, but I'll never forgive you if you left us for something you don't believe in. And you better not believe in it, because I also won't forgive you for fighting for a future back room. That doesn't leave me a lot of options. I don't think I can fight against that. Don't you dare. I won't forgive that either. Were you hoping, maybe, that it wouldn't be like this? That I wouldn't have to fight? It'll change you, in ways you don't understand. I've seen you fight so many times. I saw when you got that scar and your poor ship got her wound. Has anyone else seen that side of you as much as me? I don't think so. Not even Europa. But it's different when you're on the other side. You think I don't really know you because I've never stared down the barrel of your rifle or felt that knife nick my ship? It's a different kind of knowing. Teach me then, or I'll teach you. Sorry, I'm like gross sniffing already because I have got the honey nut felios. We are going to, as much as possible, go for MF and interact with Pluto as much as possible. Whew. Memorial Foundations. Never forgotten every story told. What's it going to be, Lunatic? Oh right, you never want to make the first move. Then I can go... Pluto sweeps up the swirling, tumbling matter on the hollowed-out moon. Making the second move has always worked for LUNA-TERRA. She's never been good at setting the pace, only outsmarting it. So it's the only move to make. Even still, maybe there aren't any winning moves. LUNA-TERRA has to be ready for that possibility. The Crimmacula is a very impossible sort of machine. Almost as impossible as Pluto. Crimmacula can grind space-time to a crawl with its tidal forces. Crimmacula can pull ambient matter into a well with enough friction for the combustion to give birth to a star. I have another thought which has been floating around my head really for the last 3 or so weeks and is going to keep floating around my head about how do I word this? About like being a trans person or having dysphoria, and the idea the desire for a ship self which actually reflects who you are and not the sort of body you're given. There's something about that's really appealing to me. The reason I've been thinking about it is because in a paper I recently wrote, there was a thread that I thought of and then didn't have the space to go down, which is sort of why cisgender queer folks would be perhaps more dedicated to a figure who has an established body, who has an established mythology and past and future, whereas trans folks would perhaps be more more attracted to a figure who is inherently nebulous and who doesn't have a body, is just a skeleton, and whom you can sort of dress up and sort of change in your representations of sort of the body as you need. And there's I didn't have the thread to go down that, and I also didn't have the mental resources to go down that thread, but I really wanted to. And it's something I've been thinking about ever since then. For the combustion to give birth to a star. Emotionally, and almost as much physically. A tiny sun is born, but LUNA-TERRA has just gotten out of the way. LUNA-TERRA isn't where Pluto was expecting, and there's suddenly a hail of bullets in her skull. Pluto doesn't mind the onslaught, but it's still shocking, but not in a pleasant way. It's actually very joyful. Really? Really? You're not just trying to scare me? For real, not a joke? We're finally going to have a fight about it? Is this body so me that you finally aren't going to be weird about fighting it? LUNA-TERRA thinks Pluto could use LUNA-TERRA thinks Pluto could use a lesson in how terrifying actual combat can be, but is there anyone terrifying enough to teach it to her? You trying to hide from me? I've been waiting for a real fight. I'm tired of you telling me you think I'm right. If you really thought that, you'd be here, on my side. So prove I'm wrong already, or admit defeat. Bullets through her arm and chest and pretty much everywhere, but that isn't a problem. Tear the bullets, even if they're light. Redirect them with gravity. Pull them into a cosmic whirl. They will never even reach her. They will always be approaching, never meeting. They will be an infinite whirl. And that whirl will become the star, washing her marry Crisium in heat and light and radiation. Ah, that's more like it. Not fast enough, Pluto. And then she runs Pluto through. It's not enough, but it hurts. It's serious. The brittle sphere is of a cold and rational metal that repels cosmic concepts. Thank God. It's beginning to worry you didn't care about anything anymore. So here. The star supernovas. Croon Macula holds the star, and Croon Macula is the star. LUNA-TERRA almost doesn't get out of it. Her engines overheat, the electromagnetic current shorts her sensors, and her chassis is fried. But she can move more than Pluto can, at least for long enough to get away. But I'm still ahead of you. Now I know why everyone hates you so much. You're no fun to fight with at all. You kidding? Like you fight fair. Now I know what you're really like. I'm not going to accept anything less. I don't want to do that again. Well, too bad. Whose fault is that? Yeah, I know. Day 2. Deep breaths. First generation pilot candidate interviews. Why do you want to go to space? I want a new start. In what sense? To get rid of this weight. We are not required to make it clear that the purpose of the program is not to leave Earth, but to expand. We are required to make it clear that the purpose of the program is not to leave Earth, but to expand it. The weight will follow you. But will it weigh differently? Please expand what you meant about what you said previously. About what? What you meant when you said, you don't want to be me. I don't know how else to say it. Isn't it obvious? Who would want to be this? I don't understand what you see that is wrong with you. I do. You are saying that you, as you are, the person who you are, doesn't want to be you? Yes. Then you want that person. But that person weighs on me. So you would like to have the weight of being this other person that you are not. You would like to have that removed? Yes. Please. That may be possible. Pilot program progress. The Cold War is looking bleak. The threat from space is more flimsy, translucent and inscrutable, when once it was so strong that all humanity feared it. Existential threats on Earth are more pernicious than ever, and the Scouts aren't keeping up. It has become difficult to argue against the possibility that the Scouting program has done more harm than good, and that goes just as much, if not more, for the pilot program. Historically, death has always invited the enemy here in its greatest strength. Humans can't resist killing each other long enough to protect themselves from the existential threat. It's easy enough to make this argument, but we've had little success with it. No matter how celebrated the slogan is, and no matter how many governments and leaders profess to live by it, the simple fact remains. The existential threat can never be as powerful as we are. Humans will always pose a greater threat to other humans than the existential threats will. It will always be easier for humanity to eliminate the threat by killing their own than by fighting the threat directly. While we have offered children and the unwanted to fight the existential threat with existential intent, humanity has turned its gaze inwards, rather than to the heavens. Not even strong enough to pierce the atmosphere without burning, the existential threat can no longer be labelled as such. For these reasons, we accept the decision to decommission the Memorial Foundation space program. Excited to be out in the field again, doing important work? We're a long way from anything important out here, I can't help but notice. You think commands wants you as far away from them as they can get you? What makes you think that? You said it, that command is my ex, and that I did once double-cross Memorial Foundation. In that case, you should be happy you're in the field at all, and not in a brig or in the process of being shipped back to Earth. Well, I am. I'm so thankful I don't need to be lied to about my work being important. Oh, I'd never lie about a thing like that. In fact, the most lovely sixth planet of our solar system, Cronus, has become extremely busy in the past 24 hours. A major lake out of celestial mechanics has revealed they're finishing a prototype here, and Cradle's Graces knows about it too. Apparently the Hellion responsible for the leak has stolen it, too. You're just the woman for the job. Reigning in incorrigible pilots is your specialty. Let's see if that power can be used for good for once. Europa, please leave some of me left to fight the enemy. Don't shoot me down before the mission starts. Was I too mean? I prefer direct combat, any day. But let me tell you something nice then. That Cradle Grace's super weapon, your favourite, has been spotted in the system. My favourite? What do you mean? Don't play dumb. You make that same face whenever Crone Macula is spotted. It's the biggest mystery of their side, and one of the only reasons Cradle Graces hasn't collapsed by now. The Crone Macula's power is unreal. It's far stronger in reality than anything that could have possibly been projected from its original schematics. Its capabilities seem endless and impossible to predict or counter. And no one knows who the pilot is. The list of people who could pilot something like that is very short, however. Maybe it's someone you know? Worried I might double-cross you again? I'm not with Cradle's Graces anymore for a reason. Oh, I just never trust you when girls are involved. I mean, fair. Objective in sight. Opening channel to base. Captain, I'm bored. Captain, this sucks. Well, you heard them, Europa. Tell those idiots to be careful what they wish for, because mission parameters have changed. As you know, Celestial Mechanics has been operating a clandestine ship self-development lab with an experimental prototype, in violation of the terms of the Memorial Foundation Space Program Decommission Treaty. And we were on a top-secret surprise attack to take out the last operational shipyard and make sure we never have to find out what Celestial Mechanics has been planning to do with it. Couldn't be more obvious what happened, but go ahead and brief me anyway. No points for guessing. The prototype already launched, rendering most of the base inoperable. We lost contact almost immediately. Find it before it leaves Cronus' gravitational field. Oh great, what a pain. Weren't you just bored? There's no way to find it. It's as good as gone. There's a chance that the ship's help is still nearby, so get to work. I guess we're probably supposed to have done this one first, but... oh well. Yeah, this is... Brother, evade now. Now. I've got nothing to... Bubblegum pink electricity sparks off the ice and dust to the inner ring like a lightning bolt and through his ship's hull. He doesn't get even the slightest chance. Captain Mayday. Don't listen and you don't have any right to complain, right, Europa? What a callous attitude you have. Who did you learn that from? The best. Preparing to engage. I wish Europa would stop sending me boys who can't control themselves. Having fun dismantling my escorts? With the string of Pearl's fingers, Saturn carefully peels the mechanical musculature out of the poor ship's arm she's holding, a souvenir of the last of LUNA-TERRA's escorts that she sent crying too easily back to their base. It's still sparkling and oozing, and Saturn wishes her ship had a mouth so she could suck it out like crab meat. Maybe it does have a mouth. The machine has many mysteries the manual doesn't explain, and Saturn is still learning them. Though I suppose Europa's learned her lesson about sending me girls who can't control themselves. Oh really? Hey, that's interesting. Mind telling me more? Oh, she's a hacker too? How amusing. There's nothing too interesting on this comm frequency. Ah, you flatter me. But hey, what did that mean exactly? The part about the girls who can't control themselves. I really want to hear more. It means back up that talk first. Or can you land a hit off the comms? LUNA-TERRA's gravitational field focuses to a single point. LUNA-TERRA isn't budging. She's been through much worse, and so has the ship, followed always by a thin trail from a bleeding wound she could never completely repair. The Mare Crisium is over 2 decades old, but Saturn can't even land a hit. It's regal and stiffed, dressed in cold metallics, weathered and refurbished. The archetypal prototype for all other ship types. Still going after all these years. Still furiously untouchable. The string of pearls hasn't gone down no matter how much she's been round with that sphere, but she hasn't even nicked LUNA-TERRA's ship once. Not bad at all for a joyride, but you can't get one hit in? Good thing you can't win by looking cool. No mercy for newbies? No. LUNA-TERRA, I hit the wrong button, sorry, bear with. Puts a stake of solid light through the string of pearls flag, pins it to its own gauze wrapper. It doesn't hurt at all. The ship's metals begin moulding and reforming around the wound immediately. A ridiculous, unfair advantage. Saturn has no right to complain, but she still wants to. But she is trying to be cool. Everyone wants to when in the quiet gleam of that always bleeding ship. It's a pretty amazing ship. Think it'll last? Either you're fighting just for fun, because you're that reckless, or you're caught in your own containment wrapper and can't escape orbit yet. And you'd beat me for sure if I played around. I'm not done yet. That's not true. It's actually very difficult to move with a solid light bullet in your leg, but she's not going to let that stop her. Saturn is suddenly closer than she logically could be, claws bubbling, but LUNA-TERRA effortlessly slips away and kicks Saturn's ship directly in the chest. Yeah, you're done. The containment wrapper is still stuck to you, so your movement's off. Doesn't seem to have stopped you that much. Whoops, just knee my desk. Right? It was so rude of them to try and stop me. Seems cruel to take it away when you're having so much fun with it. Same as you, right? Do I know you? Everyone knows Memorial Foundation's perfect ace. But do I know you? So I do, don't I? Let me out of this thing and I'll tell you. Why should I? Because you can't help yourself. Besides, don't you want a real fight? Can you promise it'll go different? I can promise it'll be more fun. You're asking me to totally abandon my duty to bring you back and do that instead? What, you won't? The legendary pilot who defected from the Memorial Foundation, then double-crossed the rebels she abandoned me for, can't be opposed to a little fooling around with the enemy. I guess you do know me. Want to trust each other? Or is it more fun if we don't? It's more fun if they do and Saturn gets embarrassed. How's that? Did it hurt? It's just weird. It's weirder that it doesn't hurt. It's easier for LUNA-TERRA to cut through the malleable flesh of the string of pearls directly rather than untangle her from the wrapper. The flesh reforms quickly, so she has to work patiently. String of pearls might be impossible to destroy. Even if Saturn can't land a hit, LUNA-TERRA feels like somehow she's the one who got lucky. If just this hurt, you'd never be able to fight. Your brain is giving you more nuanced information. You're very sensitive. Lucky. You'll get used to it. If you're serious about next time, think of yourself as something a little bigger. I like that. Being big. I'm glad I trusted you. Stop shaking then, or ask me to go easier. Just a little easier? Of course. Do you remember me yet? I thought you'd remember at least some of the name of at least some of the girls you made out with in the supply closets. Your face. Just kidding. But sorry, it was worth it. You weren't kidding about still being dangerous. Every pilot knows you. Why both of your reputations? You're definitely Saturn, because no one hated me as much as you. So now I'm curious why you don't anymore. If I tell you, you'll owe me extra, so save it for the next time you catch me. Well, I'll just have to catch you again real quick. All free. No get out before someone catches us. Ever since the day Mars began, Mars has been doomed. No, there'll never be a planet Mars. That's a name reserved for places where human life, gravity and culture reign. This is just splitter areas. But like the stringy and edible weeds that grow when nothing else does, Cradle's Crisis is dug in and we can't get them out. The colonies are wrecked, the terraforming engines are broken, the gravity furnaces are out of control. There's no resources left on the planet, no strategic value. The planet doesn't even exist, it's an inert rock. There's no point in fighting. There's no need to fight. Ship cells can't keep you alive alone forever, and even if that was the case, we could leave tomorrow and claim victory. Most of the Memorial Foundation and SES fleet already did. That's why there's barely any of us left, and why we can't get them out. What? Why don't I go home too? And leave all those idiots to just fucking die on a rock? Who do you think we're doing this for? Yeah. Hey, it's not like we're idiots. We know we're doomed. This planet still doesn't fulfill the requirements of human life. And life is just the start, anyway. Don't you know that gravity is something more important? You do understand celestial mechanics, right? Matter is made of tiny particles, but enough of it exerts gravity that stitches the universe together. Culture is made of tiny humans, and enough of it together can decide what's real and what isn't. It really is quite fucked up that this is how decisions about humans get made. Enough humans can decide anything, and then it'll be true, even about what's human and what's not. They don't even have to wait for the deadline. They've already decided that any human without their feet planted on the earth is in fact not human. It's a pretty usual thing for humans to do. No difference of any kind need to exist. We'll just be aliens, and they'll send the real military after us and we'll die. But if we just hold the line here for our princess to get through, and make it to the moon, she'll open up the gravity well, and then we get to decide. It's morning on Aries, but what's time and space? If we can get our capital ship launched and refueled, and the prototype retrofitted with the final equipment, we'll have everything in place. Keep out of the canyons and lights, the cradles, graces, and memorial foundation of bickering. Hold the city ruins against invading troops, and make sure no one tries to set the oxygen ocean on fire while we refuel. It's a pretty thankless job. But me, I can't wait to see what happens. This is the most exciting space has ever been. Before we got here, this was a deadlock, but the best we could have ever hoped for was Earth in a different place. Who needs that? Far in the distance, the moon's gravity well shines. If no one controls it before the deadline is up, Earth will take drastic steps to ensure that humanity isn't delayed. But they're afraid of happening. We will ensure that it happens. We'll finally have something alien in space. Day 3. Really gives me shivers. Alert. Report not received. 2 errors detected. Error 1. A failure to explain why celestial mechanic ship self, string of pearls, was not successfully apprehended. Error 2. A failure to explain why Cradle's gracious ship self, Trin Macula, was not successfully incapacitated. Please correct errors before proceeding. Resubmit. Warning, no correction submitted. Force resubmit. Generating new assignments. Penalty assignment. Sniper duty, planet areas, currently held by Cradle's Graces. Purpose, preventing celestial mechanics refueling and egress. Penalty assignment, sniper duty, Cradle's Graces held planet areas. Purpose, top secret. Take up Cradle's Graces prototype Trin Macula on research assignment in Cradle's Graces territory. Penalty assignments cannot be refused. Indicate you have understood new orders. Yes. Ready for gravitational catapult. Prepare launch to inner solar system. Enjoying your missions? More thrilling work than fighting the half-hearted troops left on Aries? Much, much more. I forgot what it was like to work this hard. I'm rusty. You unhappy with your progress? I don't know. Are you unhappy? I don't know. It's always been hard to tell with you, though I'm not sure if I can answer that question better than you. I've known you since you were freshly assigned to the first pilot wave. You were so delicate, and you've only become more delicate, even as you become stronger. Didn't think you described me back then as delicate. I saw it very clearly, though the other executives thought you were a scrappy pain in the butt. You were just scared. There's no point in pretending otherwise. You just see through it. I guess I haven't changed as much as I thought. Long ago, I saw a strong and delicate girl. I've worked hard to make you more and more of that. Rather than simply cultivating your strength, understanding your weakness is needed to grow. Let me ask you again, and this time focus. Count backwards from 20. Remember a moment of comfort. I'll wait. Are you happy or unhappy? I don't know, because I feel like I'm on the cusp of something. It's frightening, yet it could be something amazing. That's a real feeling. Good girl. You blushing? Anyone would. I feel even more embarrassed than I did back then. That's an even better feeling to have. Hold on to that one. Subject. Halamidi 1. Why me? Well, because you're special. A special kind of child. All children are special. That's true. They are. I'm not more special than those children. We think you might be. Special how? You're the top of your class already at such a young age. We think you might be able to do things that other children can't. My sister is better than me at all of those things, and my Aunt Europa when she was my age. We think you might be special in a different sort of way. Can you look at the box in front of you? Okay. Pass your hand over the box. Okay. Nothing happened. We're using an instrument to measure something that is very, very small, but moving it even so little that you cannot see it would be important. How do I do that? You should not think about it. Just do it. I can't. I know you can. I can't. Your aunt and your sister could easily do as much, so you can do as much too. Oh, it moved. Did you get that? Yes, I saw it move. Literally saw it. Contact the director immediately. Unified culture theory. Now that I've read some philosophy in between the last time I played this and this time, so I actually have more understanding of this rather than it just being metaphysical garbage. Universal culture theory is a brute forcing of defined solutions for the universe through forcible elimination of all other possibilities. The theory is attractive to those who desire a beautiful, simple, endless, complex solution for a universe. In order to develop this theory, there needs to be a solution for the Nix aversion paradox, which demands that anything not human exists in the universe. The most compelling current premise for a unified culture theory under contemporary physical models involves the full integration of all available concepts, directed and established in such a way as to maximize benefit for humanity. This theory of everything speaks to the desire to know, understand, and master the universe, while also incorporating a premise of universal love. Happiness for everyone, free, and let no one be left behind. Unlike tyrants of old that crushed alternate futures under their heels and only caused the existential enemy to blossom, such a unified theory would be welcome and forgive all humanity and direct to benefit all things that are and that might yet be. Doesn't make sense, but it makes more sense than it did last time I played this, so swings and roundabouts. I don't have enough saves for all of them. I'll have to rewrite some early Saturn saves. Oh well. I'm actually going to turn the sound effects volume down just a little bit. After her maiden voyage, Crises is testing the finishing prototypes on the terrifying Kryn Macula prototype. It's a chance for LUNA-TERRA to defeat the trump card. Will she deepen the rift between them instead, or would it only widen it deeper? Start with Pluto because we're alternating between the two. LUNA-TERRA, cancel the launch. There are new orders. What does that turn audio? Really? I thought they were very insistent about this mission, and it's a good idea, so I thought I'd do it. The new orders that Cradle's greatest superweapon has contacted the base already. Send anyone except for LUNA-TERRA there immediately. I see. Well, prep the Mare Crucium for launch. LUNA-TERRA, even I have to say something if you disobey an order right in front of my face. But you don't disagree? Or you just stop me instead of saying something? A certain degree of questioning orders from the top is allowed. Given who's in charge, obviously. Halamidi is just a foolish princess. If Cradle's Graces is using that new weapon, that's all the more reason not to send randos who wouldn't stand a chance against it. You fundamentally misunderstand the Memorial Foundation, LUNA-TERRA. Halamidi leads the recovery efforts because no one else is fit. Only that naive, conceited, foolish girl has the love required to bring humanity back to Earth. Naive, one-sided, and unself-aware love. Nevertheless, that is exactly the love that is required. It's easy for us to interpret that fundamental impulse in a way that will ensure strategic advantage, so I will ask you, does love motivate your actions? Or are you just that eager to find someone to shatter you into orbit? Your connection with that pilot, and don't think I don't know about it, or who she is. Which is it? Guilt or love? Will you let me go if I say I need to see her to know? I'd advise against it. Her love might be stronger than ours. That's possible. All the more reason you shouldn't get near it. Well, let me take that risk. The balance shift because LUNA-TERRA didn't hesitate, and neither did Pluto. Fourth planet from the sun, Aries. Romantic red planet. It was the first planet the space colonization program wanted to make ours, and they wanted it to be so beautiful. Did they get their wish? It was a beautiful dream, but still a dream. By the time Earth had demanded the space program pull back, they were stuck, still halfway there after so many years. Yet getting halfway there got them something beautiful, even if it wasn't enough. Where life grows, and it doesn't grow most places, it's in spring yellow-green that never could quite get to summer. Tenacious weeds spread all over the planet that will never be called Mars, and even they can barely breathe. Only stubbornness keeps life on Aries, and they wouldn't even be able to endure if Cradle's Graces didn't patiently tend to them. They spew pollen uselessly into the air, and between them and the Toothan atmosphere, breathing, where it's possible, is hard. The fate of the fourth planet from the Sun. Even prettier now, and just as useless to humans. Pluto has flown past the canyon she's concealed in 3 times already. It's been a perfect shot every time. At noon, even with the sun shining directly on her, the flowers and weeds and their pollen keep her hidden. Should LUNA-TERRA squeeze the trigger or not? And what else is LUNA-TERRA supposed to do? How can she dare to take that shot, with Pluto looking so beautiful? How can she not? Why is she trembling like that? Does she know? Lo, LUNA-TERRA realizes she's the one trembling. If you can stop me, I'll believe in you. I'll give up on everything. But I know you trust me too much. Pluto said that. She might even be saying it right now, knowing that LUNA-TERRA has the perfect shot. If you're not sure if you're right, I'll be the one to test it. I believe we can have a home in space, and there's no way to bring that back to Earth. You believe we can bring home to Earth, and there's no way to have it in space. I believe in us. We'll figure it out. Yet it's impossible for LUNA-TERRA to look at Pluto and the Prima Macula, big as a universe, and think it's better for her not to have that. For LUNA-TERRA to keep thinking, I'm freeing her for something terrible and bringing her home. So LUNA-TERRA fires. Before she has a chance to decide whether or not to fire, she pulls the trigger. Without considering or having a chance to choose one way or another, her body seizes the opportunity, makes the decision for her. The one they agreed to, without doubt. LUNA-TERRA will betray herself every time. Pluto's exposed left tidal reactor shudders and shakes. Oh, I should have seen that coming, shouldn't I? The resulting tidal resonance will be catastrophic unless she shuts both reactors off and reboots instantly. She does, of course, and worries about the ship and the whole world in LUNA-T and doesn't hesitate, even though that's clearly the plan. The minute she'll take rebooting will have her plunging into the ground, and maybe too damaged to power back on. And so, LUNA-TERRA dashes to catch her before that. Again, LUNA-TERRA is the last to know. She's doing it before she decided if she should do it or not. A coward who cannot commit her heart at least commits to not committing, without thinking about how contradictory or ridiculous it is. Pluto's comms are wrong, so she doesn't have to yell at LUNA-TERRA about why this is stupid, or how she needs to grow up, or do anything but fall and be secretly happy she's still charmingly stupid. The Crisium looks very funny, trying to catch a ship this much bigger than her. Her engines flare, strain, starting to break from trying to slow the fall. Her wound bleeds freely. A tattered, tangled mess, falling down, too hard, crumples in the weeds of Aries, nestles at the canyon bottom. It may not be a livable planet, but it's a soft one. It's hard to breathe for very long, but it feels nice to lie in, ship or body. Sometimes it feels like nothing could be worth giving up a ship. But this isn't so bad. LUNA-T, are you awake? Yeah, everything hurts a lot. I give you some painkillers. Do you need any more? I can't fly on them. You're not going to fly without them either, LUNA-T. Your engines are melted. Alright, I thought I did something stupid, but I couldn't remember what it was. It was a breathtaking sequence of poor decisions. When I said I wouldn't be satisfied or forgive you until I fought you on Ares, I meant when I kicked your butt. Kicking your own butt doesn't count. As usual. Sorry. Do you want me to move? Why? Do you want to get up? Waking up with my head in your lap feels like you're rewarding me for shooting you down. You can be mad if you want. That's one thing, this is another. There's just nothing else to do with you. You did the right thing or tried to, and then you did the right thing again or tried to. You wanted to do what was the best thing for you and me, but you couldn't decide what it was. There's nothing I can say to that, and it's already done, so just lie there already. I might not get another chance, you know? You can hold so much. I'm in awe every time. You're the size of the universe. You see everything and everyone and you hold all of it. Everything's precious. Everything's worthy of you. I'm not. I can't. I'm small. I'm small and scared. Smaller and more scared than you. Don't say I'm not. Okay. I won't. Never again. I'm sorry. You're small. You're just you after all. You have to mean it. You're huge to me, okay? That's okay. I should be. I hear everyone and I can't ignore it. It feels like I'll die if I do. It hurts too bad. I listen to your voice more than any other. Your heart is more important to me. Isn't that proof that I'm selfish too? But I'm going to fight with everything I have for those voices, even against you. I just know that no matter what, we're not going to get what we want. If I let myself slip, I'll trust in your future instead. I know we can't beat Memorial Foundation, so I can't afford to blame you. I can't do anything if I can't trust you. It's way easier to hate me. It's what normal people do. I love not giving you that satisfaction, LUNA-TERRA. And you really should give up on me ever being satisfied with happiness just for me. Sure. I know as well as you that there's no welcome waiting for us on Earth. I don't know if we'll be happy there, but I couldn't live there without... Well, if you get a miracle, I won't fight that either. My heart isn't big, but if you ruin the Memorial Foundation, I forgive you. I mean, who wouldn't? I too want to be free of Earth. To be free of 9.8 milliseconds per second squared forever. Millisecond meters, I don't know, miles? You really sure? I think even that victory will be impossible, even if we win it. But maybe you actually have more faith than me. I think we might not make a happier world. But you can learn how to be happy everywhere, even Earth. On Earth we were tied down by the weight of the world. I won't go back to that. Even if I go back to Earth. There are two ways to do that. Make a home where we set the rules, or bring a new law of gravity back home. If only all of us were as precious and powerful as the planet. But I can take the shape the world requires of me, if that's all we get. That's not true. For you especially, it isn't true. This is why, as soon as LUNA-TERRA mentioned not wanting to be herself, instantly headcanon trans Luna. The idea of wanting to live in a ship self, feeling that it's more your body than your physical body. You were the one who didn't let Earth's gravity choose your body. I wouldn't have been able to choose if you hadn't shown me. That's a victory they can't take back from us. Rescue will be here soon. You're almost a real adult, LUNA-TERRA. I wish I was as close as you. I've really got the honey nut videos, I'm not gonna lie. So I have to ask, how do you really feel about me coming back to Memorial Foundation? You were a loyal and efficient ace pilot for the Memorial Foundation for the entire war, against our alien and ultimately irrelevant existential threat from beyond the system. Then you were perfectly loyal to the pilots left adrift by the decommissioning of the pilot program and colonization project. Now you're perfectly loyal to Memorial Foundation again. You haven't betrayed our side after it at all. It's a generous reading. You betrayed plenty of love-struck pilots, but your political loyalty is impeccable. So even if Halimede doesn't trust or forgive you, I welcome your return. That's not going to be a problem? That she doesn't? Oh, she welcomes your return the most, but keep on your toes. That one I don't have any questions about. Keep your friends close and your exes closer. Except, if you're not still suspicious of me for betraying Memorial Foundation, how about her? Oh, I'll be mad at both of you about for a very long time. Please don't worry about it, however, as you both made each other suffer more than enough to make up for your youthful indiscretions. Honestly, the two of you hooking up to somehow get at me was the most hilarious part, as you ended up punishing each other more than I ever could have. Can we talk politics again? I think I get the picture already. That's not to say that the two of you don't have a lot of lessons left to learn from the experience. Once I'm sure you've learned them, your punishment will be over. I'm suddenly very interested in hearing about factions again. On that note, I'm not as worried. Just remain true to what you really believe in, LUNA-TERRA. Subject, RE. My kids are idiots, and they're also not my kids, and they're also not my kids anymore. Please stop calling them your kids when they are my students. They're not my children. I'm not being pedantic. I'm not doing it to avoid being attached. I'm already more attached than is best. Don't encourage it. They're grown-ups and also fools. Mars is the most genius pilot, but she's just as much a fool as everyone else. She does nothing but cry and complain and win effortlessly like a real hero. If she was a boy, they would call her that, and you wouldn't be asking me who the best pilot is. You just know. Only in space would that girl be allowed to be a hero. She deserves her moment in the sun. She might win the war for us single-handedly. Anything else that isn't her story will just be a blip of fate in the sky. Rest easy. She's going to win the day. When the others interfere, they're not going to steer the course of that future any more than a little bit to the left or right of the course that Mars is sailing. I am not going to interfere. Valuing their independence is important. They'll be adults soon, and then they won't be anyone's kids. Insist on the comparison, and it'll become clear how far we are from fulfilling that role for them. For my part, I don't wish to forget that there are limits to what we can do, and who we can be. Though yes, as a matter of fact, I am tired of them calling me Dad. Subject: Secular Astrology Explained, Part 1. Whew, okay. I don't know why you suddenly asked about this, and I'm not the person who knows about it, but sure, I guess. I learned all of this from Pluto, so you could have just asked her. Too nervous, huh? I see right through you. Well, because I feel sorry for you, I'll tell you all about it. Venus, LUNA-TERRA, and Mars are the interpersonal distances. If Venus is the breath of the body and Mars is the blood, LUNA-TERRA is the flesh and represents skin-to-skin distance. That's why it represents family. The Earth and the Moon are different, but they're part of the same thing. A two in one. Certainly the Moon also represents something different, but it's also a part of us. When you think of it as a dark side, you forget that it's composed of your own same flesh. It's not your mirror, it's your back. Mars is beneath the skin distance, and that's blood, but it's also the ways humans communicate, not skin to skin, but beneath skin to beneath skin. Get it? Don't make me spell it out. That's the reason for fighting and fucking to feel really similar sometimes. Pluto said the other day, it's like you two only know that one language, and that's the only talking you ever do in it. The solar system maps out a human body, and by colonizing the planets, a greater human body will exist, with the sun as the inseparable totality of it all. That's a philosophical justification, but it's kind of romantic, right? Maybe it's kind of fake, though. I think Mars is, sorry. Okay. I think Mars is the companion in the oh, words are so difficult. I think she's the companion in the Pluto route. Memorial Foundation deploys a certain sniper to stop escape and resupply routes to the resting celestial mechanics fleet. All Saturn needs to do is stay out of trouble, but what's the chance of that? Guard duty in Olympus City. Commander's worried the celestial mechanics unit might try to escape while the fleet is launching, using the cityscape as cover. Then they've just given up on catching them on Ares, if their only hope is them being that stupid. It's a ruined husk, and even Cradle's Graces isn't clinging onto it, like they cling to even the faintest sign of life on Mars. Excuse me, Ares. Well, it's boring, pointless work that no one wants to do, and it's gonna make me wonder if someone's actually mad at me. You let the prototype escape, LUNA-TERRA, and the most generous assumption is incompetence, which from you they have a hard time buying. That's not fair. I'm plenty incompetent. They should know that by now. You're only incompetent in the ways you wish to be. That's an awfully profound way to call me lazy. If you were simply lazy, you wouldn't go out of your way to find so much trouble to get in. And that's the reason why this assignment is so disastrous as a punishment. Boring you is dangerous. I learned that very early on in your career. There's no way to make you sit still. Oh, maybe I'll try it this time. There's this good sniper spot with a view of the whole city. I won't move from there. Why does it sound less like you're promising to behave, and more like you're going to brag about how much trouble you can get in without even moving? Either way, they're sure to put me back on the front, right? I'm going for Memorial Foundation because, ouch. I mostly chose CM last time. It's kind of really tempting. I've absolutely lost what I was saying. Absolutely lost the ending to that sentence. Whoops. Yeah, my plan is to get the faction ending with each pilot according to their faction, and then I'm gonna go for their equal ending, and then in my own time I might go for like different faction endings with the different pilots, but I haven't decided yet. Anyway, Saturn gets no-scoped by LUNA-TERRA. The balance shifts because LUNA-TERRA could hold still and Saturn couldn't. Correct for gravity, it's unsettling new week. Correct for the cold blue starry daylight and fragile Aries atmosphere. Sniping from the remains of the capital spire is like being just an eye and a trigger finger. A thrilling place for LUNA-TERRA to fight. Correct for wind, it's skittish and powerless. Correct for gravity, there's still too much of it. Correct for the nuisances of this infant planet that will never be. Skirting along the exposed roads of the city that never was is like being an exposed nerve. A thrilling place for Saturn to fight. I see you. LUNA-TERRA squeezes the trigger for the 17th time. The cover couldn't protect String of Pearls from LUNA-TERRA's eye, and it sure can't protect her from her trigger finger. Engage reactor, initiate inertial control. The slug whips right by Saturn, and that's 7 times dodged. The 4 shrinking holes in the chassis, marching closer to the String of Pearls heart, mark what happens when she doesn't. Getting shot still sucks. Saturn isn't used to it. Ha ha! That one was so close. That was really, really, really close. Tell me I'm getting better, right? No way, it's just luck. You've come from getting hit all of the time to getting hit half of the time. That's better, but what you want is to be hit none of the time. Don't tell me what I want. Maybe I love being shot. You wouldn't be the first. Wow, weird. You must fight some really problematic people. Some pilots find interesting ways to pass the time. Kinda get the appeal. What else is there to do? If you didn't love getting shot so much, you wouldn't run around in space shooting each other. If that's true, why did you come here to fight? If that's true, why did you come here? There's nothing left to fight over on Ares for anyone. Give me one thing to do more fun than look demure and get shot at. Someone has to do the shooting. Tells me what position you favour, but it doesn't answer my question. I'm taking evasive manoeuvres. If I dodge the next one, answer my question. I won't answer the first one, but I'll answer a different one, if you dodge. Saturn gets so quiet. She gets snow still. Yet her heart is thumping, her reactor thrumming with resonance. It's obvious LUNA-TERRA is sniping her from the tower, the city's last and tallest building. But now, suddenly, she isn't so sure. She isn't so sure if he knows where LUNA-TERRA is, or if she knows anything about her at all. What did her face look like again? Hit. It's not that Saturn wasn't ready. She's baiting. She knows exactly what she's doing. LUNA-TERRA just guessed for the 1/2 second where Saturn wasn't ready, and slipped a solid light bullet in that space. The shot lands right in the throat. For a moment, Saturn's just, I'm dead. But she's not. Then she hurts so bad she wants to die. But she's just mistaking the very different things the String of Pearls feels instead of that. Scream! It's not really pain, but it's a feeling so overwhelming it shuts Saturn down, like pain would. It's fascinating and full of information. LUNA-TERRA, you're not doing a very good job of convincing me not to try and get shot. I've heard that before too. You sure are having fun. Makes you think that. Want to know who I know? When correcting for gravity, the impression you leave in space feels a little for a second like, well, someone might say it's like an eye roll, but I think it's kind of like a giggle too. Maybe that counts as a hit. You don't win cat and mouse games by batting every time a head pokes out. Except somehow you do. You're good at making people not follow their own better instincts. You shouldn't be getting me to teach you to fight fair. You do much better like this. Thank you. I don't fight fair because I have absolutely no idea how to fight. But this is why I hate you, LUNA-TERRA. You just don't get it. I want to beat you at something you're good at. You're really tough. Not your sniping, which can't stop me at all, but how you're totally impenetrable. You're doing something tricky. What are you doing? Still my question, my hit, that's the rules. Why are you here? Firstly, because I refuse to ever be bored, just like you. Secondly, wiping that smug expression off your face is my deepest desire, so teach me how to weave through your fire and sink my claws into you. What's the third reason? Not telling you. I already gave you one for free. Nice dodge. My question then. Dodge a real one first. LUNA-TERRA fires, and Saturn leaps forward directly into it. The bullet misses. Her tail sparks and she thrusts through the atmosphere. How's that? Good work. But you have to keep it up. LUNA-TERRA lands a bullet straight through her legs and Saturn crumples. But the moment her limbs heal, she leaps again. She's ready for the next bullet, but not the one behind it. But that one's a clean shot, right through her. No stopping power at all. And she leaps through again and has gone into the rubble before LUNA-TERRA can land another shot. So that more dodges or more hits? Counterpoint, here's my opinion on getting shot so far. Fills my brain with overwhelming information and barely stops me from doing anything at all because I'm in control of an impossible space war machine. So you actually say you've really hit me? Flawed argument. Really disappointing, and I was expecting a lot better. Am I losing? Can I ever lose, no matter how much you shoot me? I don't think so. I don't actually think so. This machine is never going to lose. You can pin me down. You might be so much better than me I couldn't beat you in a million years, but I'll keep trying and I'll beat you with dumb luck. Maybe that's true. You never hit me. Why are you here? Did you know there's a theory that ship cells can't actually be destroyed? You can break as much of them as you want, but the gravity engine will always pull it back into shape. As long as you're sufficiently tenacious, you can survive anything and try again until you get it right. So you do get what this machine is for. My least favourite person in the world came up with that theory, and this is the ship's help to test it, so naturally I know all about it. But it's true that no one has died. That's why they get to say there's still no war in space. Dodging my question again? But in practice, wrecking a ship's elf until both the pilot and the ship give up is indistinguishable. Because you become so broken continuing it is impossible. Even if they can't kill you, you can be changed. You think you can do that to me? Or is that what you want to have happen to you? I have. To people who have much more fun with this than you do. This don't call it a war is nothing but play fighting. All it takes is someone not playing along to ruin it all. A solid light, a slug passes so close to Saturn's head the heat chars her face black, but it's not a hit. She incremented to the left, 0.05 seconds before impact. Oh, you are getting better. It's definitely my question now. I'm still answering. That theory hasn't been disproven. It's more than likely true. But this is something you should know first. Your body can't be killed or destroyed, but it can be changed. When you're hit, truly hit, you're bent to endure a different kind of shape, and through that you can change. I think you should ask yourself if you're ready for that before you say you want to play with me for real. Speaking from experience, about that always bleeding wound on your ship's elf, it's not always a bad thing to change. Last one. If you can't dodge this, I don't think you're ready. Once again, Saturn feels LUNA-TERRA slipping away. She's not here. She's not anywhere. She never was. Once again, it's my hit. Electricity explodes from the target point and connects back to the origin. It starts from where LUNA-TERRA is, and when it connects back to Saturn, fast as light, the course correction defines the pathway retroactively. Wow. I'm an idiot. This is great. You're not supposed to be ecstatic about someone getting the best of you. That's my move. Sorry. But I was condescending before. Next time we fight, it'll be for real. What if I don't want to fight? Then that'll be real too. That's when we created the first and last artificial colony of the native sphere was completed, a tranquil ball of stable gravity at Lagrange point 5. As a front line against existential threats, a training facility for a generation of humans adapted to fight in space. As a colony environment with a life, gravity, and culture necessary for human beings to live, thrive, die, and be born. With the hope that peace on Earth would reign if we won this war in heaven. Without pressure, water boils off our tongues and we dissolve into component parts. Without culture, we forget the shapes we're supposed to have and turn it inside out into something else. Out of necessity, we created a pressurized environment, exerting enough gravitational pressure to maintain cohesion of all senses in space, a ship's elf to ferry us through the world. They function only in places where the gravity of humans is too light to sustain existence. It was doomed from the start. Of course they were jealous. Of the humans the Earth no longer wanted, flying on zero-G rings. Oh god, I just love this game so much! I don't have like constructive reasons for it. It's just so good. That's when the Memorial Foundation International Executive Committee was granted international authority in the spirit of unified human peace and the verified presence of an existential threat outside the solar system to establish a cultural, military and scientific response to existential threats. No longer confined to Earth, a growing new sphere where our gravity reigns forever. Safety, research and expansion. The three pillars of the Memorial Foundation spaceflight will protect Earth from without as passed from within. Free from the old world's gravity, it will be possible to advance science, art and culture without constraint and join hands. All of Earth finally unified. The Memorial Foundation, protecting humans from other humans through peace on Earth, and protecting humans from everything else through war in heaven, will fulfill both of our agendas simultaneously. We really, foolishly, decided we could do better. There are two errors to this approach. The first is that to do better in heaven is meaningless if it cannot be exported to Earth. The space program was never rejected by the surface. It simply didn't have enough relevance to sustain interest. The second error is the intrinsic error of Memorial Foundation. The existential threat is intrinsic to humanity. You can fight it, but you can't get it out. The designation of alien is required by humans. You cannot trick an existential threat into a convenient manifestation. As it has always been, only humans can fulfill the criteria to be alien. That's when they blew up the Lagrange colony. It was a real shame. It was a green, wet, and very peaceful place. And now it's very cold, green, wet, and very unsettling place. It's where we did a lot of legitimate and incredible things, like create sustainable tidal reactors, new culture, experiment with human bodies and human development, manufacture sufficient alter egos for space exploration, and did everything other than successfully combat the unknowable existential threat. Earth and Memorial Foundation Surface considers that failure, but in truth, they're just not trying hard enough. Through gravity, humans decide what is real and what is not. Humans cannot make whatever they imagine to come true. Through imagining, humans check out what is true. They invent with human effort that exists. If an existential threat doesn't exist, we just have to make them. But of course it doesn't work like that. Nothing could be more difficult than creating something alien. We're only reference points of human, so the idea of something alien is unimaginable, because we cannot imagine outside of those terms. There's a certain degree of misunderstanding needed for humans to successfully classify something as alien. But before they blew it up, we got very close. Day 5. Provisional acceptance of pilot mission completion. Incoming alert, all Memorial Foundation troops. Find an Ares frontline. All units immediately rendezvous with main fleet at the Pilot Academy Lagrange colony on the way to Celestial Mechanics moon base. Generating new assignments. Provisional assignment. Special operations mission. Secure Lagrange colony as a possible launch point for Celestial Mechanics hit and run tactics. Provisional assignment. Special operations mission. Destruction of the obsolete Academy research technology before it falls into the hands of Cradle's Graces. Provisional assignments will reduce your penalty status. Indicate you've understood new orders. Ready for gravitational catapult? Prepare launch to Lagrange point 5. I need to do some maths to work out how to be even. There's 8 days, which I believe means there's 16 missions. So I think it should be 3... No. 15. I don't know. We'll work it out, I guess. Do we get along better or worse than back then? Let's talk about something else. Oh, is it really so bad these days? We don't get along much because we're too much like each other. We used to be so different. What happened? I got older and learned a lot. That's enough to make me more like you. You're not giving me enough credit. Really? Do you think I'd blame you for being too good at teaching me the same lessons that made you who you are? Well, I'd always hoped. I'd blame you if I felt like it. There's nothing to blame you for. Nothing you warned me about turned out like you said, so I stopped paying attention to any of your advice. I thought I was too smart for the rest, so it's just a coincidence we ended up like each other. I never minded your lessons. You sure? I was a harsh teacher. Are you really glad for it? Sorry, putting on that bomb. I'm happy for everything I learned, not for everything you taught me. I mean, it wasn't like you were wrong. Everything you said would happen, happened. But none of it happened like you said it would. If I followed your advice to the letter, it wouldn't have helped me at all. It was all just different enough. So I came up with my own answers. It wasn't until I looked back on them that I realised it was exactly what you would have done. Fair, I suppose. I should count that as a success for me. But also, due to your effort, for you. That's just what I wanted, though. I certainly never wanted a carbon copy of myself. I wanted you to improve on what you'd been handed. Did you think you did a good job? Shouldn't you be asking yourself that question, since you're the one in charge of the education? I was afraid you'd say that. Don't come to me for answers now of all times. Well, at least there's plenty of time left for me to turn out right in the end. Subject: Secular Astrology Explained, Part 2. I only did this because you asked, okay? I warned you, this is dorky stuff. The ancient roots of it are pretty dubious, in case you were wondering. I think most of it is made up. I mean, yes, I know it's all made up, but not even made up by some wise man 1,000 years ago. It's made up by some dude in California. Anyways, what the dude from California does is he organises the parts of the body into the parts of the mind and the spirit, and he says that what you should do is think about your body not as a body, but as a tool for relating to other people. I know that they draw them on the body, but it's like, don't think of them as actual body parts. It's the way that you communicate. So this chart might help. I think the point of it, in a way, is to remember that these are all parts of you, but also parts of other people, and you have ways of communication between each other using them. People always ask me for their charts because they want to be flattered about what they're good at, but that's not the point. You need to know where you have trouble too. I looked at mine so much right before we broke up, you know? Like it did any good, but you know I'm weak when it comes to Venus. That's the distance of breath, which means ability to read atmosphere, and talking, the way we communicate through breath. When you're bad at Venus, that doesn't mean you're bad with words, but you're bad at receiving words. You don't hear them, or you don't feed other people the words they need to live. Well, according to your chart, you're bad at that too. So I hope it helps. Exclusive from Mars. Pilot Halimidi, annual report. She's not coming out of her room, refuses to pilot it. Vic is the most well-behaved of all Generation 2 pilots, would have a tantrum like a storm when it finally came. Do you expect me to know what to do about it? Yes. It's really your problem though, isn't it? Don't start. I am begging. Fine, fine. What's the big problem then? She'll get over it. Is she upset about her sister? No, of course she is. But not for the reason I thought. What did you think? That she missed her. Hilarious. What's the actual reason? She won't accept a hand-me-down? Philosophy? She won't pilot it? She won't pilot the perfect second-generation machine because it was made for her sister? She wants her own machine made. She's ridiculous. She said it'd be fine if she died, but it's just because she flaked out and got bored with space and left a problem in Halimidi's lap. She won't do it. Siblings really this petty and mean? Stop laughing and help. Siblings. They are, in my experience, always this petty and difficult. Stupid, there's not 8 days, there's 8 missions. Hang on, sorry. Doing a think. Well, we'll see, I guess. God, maths, not my strong suit, clearly. Let's do deeper cuts. Come on, Europa. That's weird when you won't order me. Can't you see I'm hesitating? Show some politeness. It's weird to see you hesitate. You don't do it. Then stop making it more weird, if you please. Let a woman be weird for once. I have no problem returning to the colony. I wouldn't have thought you'd have more hang-ups than me. You have no regrets? No pain? At any of your training or your service in the war? About anything that happened there? About the people you met there? I don't have any problems returning to the Lagrange colony for this mission. The academy where you shaped us at all. No. I'm happy to put it to rest. I was a real idiot, so I don't mind seeing it trashed. We're trashing it a little more to stop that celestial mechanics pilot from taking back the Lagrange reactor. Ah, you've taken an interest in Saturn. Professionally, she's a dangerous enemy. She was in the Iapetus division, but she was, yes, very clever. The Lagrange reactor is the worthless shard of nostalgia. Iapetus must be truly egomaniacal to send that prototype unit after it. I meant to do the other one, but I liked the sound of this one, so never mind, we're doing Saturn first, I guess. Wink. That's a bad sign. The worst fights always happen over something worthless. Certainly a trap, but you know that. It's still a chance to get one over him and stop that pilot, if you're prepared to be serious. I'm always serious. You serious enough to stop playing? I'm not playing. Whether you're serious or playing isn't a matter of how you feel about it. It's a matter of whether you're committed or not, or if you're playing because you simply can't decide. You can't play forever. I told you, I still haven't decided. I'm not closing off the future until the last moment. Do decide what you want about the future when the future comes. But you'll never move from this point if you don't decide how you feel about that pilot. Europa. Oh dear, you are feeling guilty again. Well, that's to be expected. I don't mind if you lose against that one, or win. Just choose, right? You don't have to tell me. I know what happens if I don't. Fight for real in a fun way. No. Fight for real in a fun way. This is how you get them to hook up. Not long ago, the Academy Gardens were beautiful, and they were warm. Now they are colder than space, because no feeling is as cold as wet is, not even vacuum. Under the stability of the artificial gravity, Lagrange colony was as Earth as Earth. Maybe even a little more so. In being more Earth than Earth was, it was also less, and so Memorial Foundation Existential Safety ordered it abandoned first when the space program was decommissioned. Not everyone agreed, and then there was a fight, and then the colony became like this, ruined in a way only human things can be ruined. The reactor was shattered, and with it, all possibility for life and culture. Yet still, some of it lingers. Moss grows. Objects gather. Sometimes there are whispers, tidal memories etched into space-time by the humans who spent too short a time there. True space is more of a numb feeling. It's the cold of nothing, and it feels like nothing too. I'm not so lost in nostalgia I can't tell when I'm not alone. And I know I'm not alone, so say something. So you did come. You're always close by, and you're always hiding something, and you're always just out of reach. Even though I've seen your face, I feel like I haven't. Even though I've shot you through the heart, it feels like I never touched you. Maybe you're just dense, LUNA-TERRA. I felt those plenty. I should say that about you, in fact. LUNA-TERRA, maybe you're the one who never came close enough to touch me. Am I just that good, or are you holding back? You're slippery, and you've gotten better, too. What makes you say that? I don't already know where you are this time. I must have been doing pretty awful before then. No, you weren't. But it's still unbelievable that you've gotten so good in such a short amount of time. So I don't believe it. There's no hiding how much I suck, huh? No, the opposite. There's no way you weren't this good before. That's not true. You've definitely been trained, haven't you? I never fought other pilots. Did you fight something else? Doesn't count. It was nothing but training, and then nothing. The existential threat was never real. It was a trick of the light, and our weapons pierced it with 100% accuracy every time, and no one was ever hurt, and it never became real enough to fight. That's true. It's also true that this isn't a real fight either. You were right when you called it play fighting. These machines weren't ever designed with practicality in mind. They simply aren't made with the intention to kill. I've read plenty of Dr. Nix. I don't need the lecture. And you're not even explaining it right. They did make ship cells with practicality in mind. They made them specifically in a shape that would not allow for death and war. Dr. Nix just didn't want an end to conflict. Because that's silly. You can't be human without it. Death defeats the purpose of conflict, which is how humans communicate and change. Death and war end conflicts. The ship self signals the fundamental transformation of human conflict from suffering into love. If you know it, explain it the right way. If you knew Dr. Nix, you might have a harder time taking it seriously. I'm not part of Cradle's Graces for a reason, you know. I'm not that dumb. Not that I don't get the appeal of wanting to be that dumb. Just kidding. No, I do too. Pluto has that effect, doesn't she? Yeah, I feel dumb every time. She really makes you want to believe with your whole heart. I do also love the idea that all of these interactions are always happening, and it's just that you are only experiencing the ones through the eyes of your pilot. So like during our downtime is when Pluto and Saturn are having their interactions. I was going to check something and then I realised my phone was on the other side of the room because it's charging. Never mind. I wanted to check the names of the characters in We Know the Devil, which I really want to replay. Pardon me. Bigger pardon me. Words. I wanted to check the names of the characters now, but I'll do it later. What was that? Whoops, you always want to believe in her, even if you never really quite can. And neither can she, all the way through. She just tries very hard. LUNA-TERRA, why are you really here? To stop me from taking a worthless artifact? To fall into an obvious trap for another chance at stopping me once and for all? To rack up the glory and take all the errant children home for Memorial Foundation? To mess me up? Or to make out with me? Saturn feels herself growing in LUNA-TERRA's eyes. Suddenly, clearly seen. Wasn't I just perfectly clear? What's the shit body for anyway? I'm here to communicate. LUNA-TERRA, you're really shallow and kinda dumb. I'm honest. Finally. You're lucky that's enough. You ready for that though? I don't think you're ready. Well, I think I'm ready. You want me to check? I won't give an inch. I'm not like you girls. I'm not a cosmic glow of energy in the dark. Still, I'm metal, and I'm sharp. You really think I'm not like that too? But I'm already behind you. It's a double lie, because the movement is to her left, but Saturn is coming from behind. LT's instincts are too good for her to not twitch fire to her left, even as she realised it's just bullshit. But then there's nothing. The feeling of being so close to being struck that she can't tell if she was or not. You're really not like us girls. I'm nothing special, like I said. But you dodged it. It wasn't real. Nothing to dodge. Obviously. That's the part that's hard. I'm fighting for real, just like you wanted. You're the one who wants that. And fine, dodge this. LUNA-TERRA's vision fills with pink, the neuroelectric toxin melting into her skin. Feels hallucinatory, weird, stubborn, aggressive, vulnerable. Just like Saturn. In the poison electric chaos, LUNA-TERRA feels a little like Saturn. Got you. I like being wrong sometimes, you know? I like not being the Memorial Foundation's perfect ace. Doesn't seem to really suit you, if I'm being perfectly honest. But neither does playing by the rules. If ship's elves don't play by the rules when you're fighting, it stops looking like fighting. Oh yeah? What does it start looking like? Also, that's not where I am. Liar. You willing to bet on it? Yeah. Then go. Stakes of hard light are fine for flirting, but that's not what this is. The Crisium spear, made for reconciling the Earth and the Moon, is meant to be used up close. It's the distance where skin touches skin, the obligation that humans have for other humans. Hard like gravity and warm like light. If no one has been worse at building that duty than LUNA-TERRA, she's all the more the one who should be carrying that weight. Saturn only realises after, when the lightness and heaviness start to lift, that it had hit her too. Didn't think it was even possible to have a gravity less suited to you, let alone for you to be so good at using it. I really hate being in charge actually, and I'm bad at it too. But sometimes you're the only one left who can do it. Even if you hate it, and it's totally self-destructive. Especially then. Sometimes I think, why do we have to fight anymore? Let's just do this obscene other thing, the thing that fighting could be. And then you say something like that, and I want to fight you so bad. You wouldn't get it. You're hilarious. Makes me want to see you squirm. Like, in a nice way though. You can try. What? It's just funny. I love it when you play cool, because you're not. Let's communicate aggressively. That's what humans do. Sure, I've already given up on that worthless reactor. The Nevik can have scored me enough to make me regret this. Go! Go! It's good content, lads. It's really good content. What is the moon drop, LUNA-TERRA? Eh? Halimedia says it was something you used to talk about. Oh, yeah. We were thinking about crashing the moon into the Earth. Literally? Yeah, that too in the end. The goal of the space program used to be to make all of the solar system figuratively equivalent to Earth. When humans touch it, it becomes ours. That's why we use Greek words to identify the physical body as a space, and the Roman to represent our understanding and incorporation of it. Cool. Cool. We were being silly, taking a metaphor way too literally, and way too far, joking about crushing the solar system together. It would make sense to return to it. It would be nice and neat. Killing absolutely everyone. Yeah. It was a horrible thought I shared with Halimede. She hated it, but she kept arguing about it with me. The Earth looks so fragile and small here, and the moon looks so big. That's probably why. It was a bad joke, and she never thought it was funny. Good. She's very perceptive when it comes to that. I'm surprised always that people can find that self-destructive streak of yours harmless or imperceptible. I'm glad she didn't. I'm surprised you kept me around given that. Should I have given up? Is that even a question? You should have followed your instincts. You appear to be misunderstanding. I take my work very seriously. As a leader, a woman, as a pilot, as part of the Memorial Foundation. You know there are very real things Memorial Foundation believes in, and I believe in them too. Yeah. In thinking to bring all people together, however, there are choices that have to be made. Should we cut the world to fit its people, or the people to fit its world? That is what we struggle with the most. Cut does not have to be a bad thing. It can be what's right for you, or the world. Making space for what exists without allowing it to be erased. Those which the world abandons die, which is unacceptable. Or they become another world, which is also unacceptable. A kind of violence. Like smashing the earth into the moon, hoping for togetherness, and killing everyone instead. We didn't find the right solution, but at least we know which one was a wrong one. Let's scroll up. Okay. Ooh, I'm like struggling to comment because I just really love how this is written. Regarding Mecha 1, Mare Crisium. In a ship self, you don't have to worry about dying, not in the same sort of way. A ship self, you know, isn't even a weapon. It's a body for living and travelling in space, and it's equipped for doing the sorts of things that humans need to do, like fighting. The ship self, which lets you express like it's your own body, better than your own body, is a machine that's for falling in love and having fights. It's formed to literally suit us. It bears only the most abstract resemblance to something designed to kill another human being. The most efficient possible form for ending lives as quickly as possible wouldn't look like anything like a human, and that's why Europa designed them from a child's toy. The ship self isn't the perfect form for war. It's a form that by nature turns war into something else. Part of this is due to humanity's relative weakness in space, separated from the origin of our gravity. Even with the power of a tidal reactor, we barely come close to developing a ship self with gravitational and metacultural authority equivalent to a human beings on Earth. While humans on Earth need to devote most of this authority to keeping their shape, identity, and differentiation from other humans, a ship self is less authoritative even than this, though in space they have far fewer restrictions than humans on Earth. If a ship self were to make planetfall, it would be crushed under human pressure and rendered lifeless. Subject: Iapetus evaluation. No. It's gratifying to know you share my suspicions as well. As I understand that it's the purpose of this committee to prepare for any eventuality, that this particular possibility hadn't crossed your mind was beginning to worry me. Oh, I'm no less worried now, but you're asking how to deal with Iapetus. That sense of superiority he has is not weakness. It is truly dangerous, not just unpleasant. If he seems gracious and forgiving about a loss, it's only because he's utterly confident he'll eventually be able to surpass you. But he's a realistic man. He will find the easiest route. Merely coming out on top in the end is not enough. He wouldn't consider the quality of how he got there. In fact, it would reinforce his superiority to know he surpassed you without having worked as hard as you did. He's shockingly good at predicting others, except for the moments in which he has wildly underestimated one. These fascinate me in particular. He can be so uncanny when it comes to gleaning specifics from trivial behaviour, and then he's blindsided by the most obvious conclusions. His lack of respect for interiority is quite stunning. His win rate without having it should appall anyone with a general respect for human beings. The problem is, I played this on Saturn's Go last summer, like 9 odd months ago, 10 probably actually, 9.5. So the problem is, I really can't remember much of like Saturn's thing. That's why I decided I'm going to go for a neutral ending on Saturn, because I can't really remember her. That sounds bad. I can't remember her story that well, let's put it that way. The Cold War is long over and the existential threat is gone, but its memories still stir here, at the observatory. Will it be put to rest here, or buried forever? You're quiet, Europa. What's up? Is that unusual? Sometimes. But you said I have a briefing for you 5 minutes ago. Seems I lost track of time again. But don't you already know what the mission is? Close the lens and prevent Cradle's graces from opening it further. For the purpose of, who knows? Memorial Foundation on the ground wants it done. It was the observation device for existential threats, but in the end, we never knew if what we were seeing there was... in the end, I got a soda, which means I got bad hiccups. We never knew if what we were seeing was what there was, or if we, the observers, were just seeing what we wanted to see. When it became clear that celestial mechanics had been pushing development in the direction of things that they did not themselves understand, we chose to destroy the colony. Later works of the space colony era showed signs of an art and design movement potentially hazardous and implicitly treacherous to the human race. But very lovely. I wish we hadn't caught on so quick. Memorial Foundation on Earth would be loath to admit it, but it's possible it did and does in fact work in one or more ways. Casts it all in a new light, doesn't it? I didn't expect you to feel so nostalgic. I have some happy memories of the Academy. Don't you? I only just actually properly looked at Europa's outfit. Nice. That's what I have to say. Nice. Yes, some. But I'd rather move forward in any way at all than keep dwelling. That's always a virtue if you've learned from it, and you're not just trying to forget. Keep your advice to the mission and not me. Well, I only have an interest in the success of one of those two things. Sort of like you don't need a robot for. I want to, but no, we're staying loyal. The gate collapses in nostalgia and disaster. It all goes wrong almost immediately. They both should have known better. The observatory looks small from the Academy gardens, but up close, it's big enough to lose the two of them. A telescope of a certain kind, for observing a threat that was entirely existential and possibly not real, and maybe a weapon too. Maybe a weapon that worked so well it destroyed humanity's enemies before we could even prove they were there. Now, even the intellectual curiosity isn't worth keeping open. There's too many enemies, real and existential on Earth, to worry about ones elsewhere. The mission wouldn't have become such a disaster so quickly if it had been the two of them had just fought face to face, if they hadn't been a little awkward still after Ares, if there wasn't still so much past to fight. The one known and guaranteed function of the observatory, and its lens that sharpens gravity into a laser-sharp gaze, is that it brings time to you before you're ready for it. LUNA-TERRA knew she'd never be able to stop Pluto if she saw her face to face, so she went directly to close the observatory's lens. Pluto knows she wouldn't be able to stop her face to face, so she forced the eye to stay open with the gravity alone rather than confront her. A stubborn, indirect fight, like two children pulling on a toy until they tear it in half. And that's what they did. Push, pull, tug, until the iris cracked, contracted, stalled, ground to a halt, exceeded its limits, and shattered and collapsed. Even without the gravity of the colony's tidal reactor, there's enough gravity too, when condensed in a single point, cause disaster. Move! Pluto, we have to get out right now. Luna-T, you idiot. Stubborn jerk. Mars was right about you. I told you I wouldn't budge. Why did you call my bluff like that? You're right, I'm an idiot. It's my problem and it's all my fault, so move. My cores are desynchronizing. Gravity cake is disabling their tidal resonance, you jerk, so I can't move. Why did you keep pushing? Know it was going to happen. I'm more stubborn than you, always. Not having it. You already said everything is your fault so that this is now true forever, until the end of time, which this gravity quake is probably going to take us to. Fine, I'll place my reactor in resonance with yours to stabilize, then max thrust and we'll get out of here. There's no way your ship has enough power to keep up. Then leave me. No, you need to live so I can keep yelling at you. Don't even think about not leaving with me. Then let's do what I said in the first place. Get out of the observatory before it swallows us. Have you ever been in the epicenter of a gravity quake? Maybe it'll be fine. Don't you dare let that make you feel better. It shouldn't. The iris is shuddering and shattering and sparking. The tidal forces rock through them. Living in space means not having to know which way is up, but now they can't even tell when is up. Down and up and left and right are everywhere and nowhere, and the exit of the closing eye is forever out of reach of space and time. Where are you going? That's upside backwards. I can't steer. How can you? Here, fine, I'll guide you. Hold on, the pulse is... That already happened. It's about to happen. It's happening right now. It might happen. It's continuing to happen. Luna-T, calm down. You know better to be paralysed by linear times like that. Just do it. Whatever it happens to be, whenever it comes up. Forget the tense. If you're about to do it, you'll do it. So if you've done it, it's done and you already have done it. If you can't, so what's next? It's always the future in space. That's the point of coming to space. You go there when you want to be in the future, now. It is the world of will be or maybe to be, never is or was, reaching but never grasping, a future severed from the present that caused it. Light floods from the iris of the lens. Then it shuts again, many infinities to come. I'm Pluto. What's your name? It's LUNA-TERRA. I'm assigned to protect you. You're sweet, but so sad. I'm happy to meet you, but when I'm so happy you seem sad. Why is that? No, sorry, that's super annoying. Dr. Nix keeps telling me people think it's rude when you just read the story off them instead of asking them first. You're not supposed to be able to do that to me. No, sorry. I'm excited, but do happy things make you sad? Sometimes, a little. I'm glad you're having fun, at least. I'll make sure you have fun too. I can share being happy. That's the function of love. Do you love me? Yeah, you get it. Love makes the universe works. Do you know physics? You don't have to be jealous of me, you know. Everything I was given, you deserve that too. I'll cut your old dead name out of the story, just like I did for me. Trans gay. In space, just like I want to be. Focus, LUNA-TERRA. You have to be faster than thought. You have to feel. Trust your instincts. Cut through the edges of possibility space. Lunati, it's okay. It's hard, but you don't have to cry. There's lots of us here. We can beat them together. I don't know what to do. What they want is impossible, but I want it too. Why can't I just make it happen? I can see everyone's desires, but I just can't make it all fit. Why can't I forgive them? Why can't this work? Why won't anyone help me? If only I was bigger, but I'm messing it all up. If only I wasn't here. You're only part of it. Don't erase yourself from the equation. You're the universe. They hate us. They'll never be happy in a universe where you're happy too, so let's run. If they don't want us to be part of humanity, we don't need their cradle either. They're considering escalation of the conflict. Memorial Foundation wants to keep it an existential disagreement, but Earth wants to make it military. I guess we weren't human enough to be wanted on Earth, but we're human enough to be dealt with the way that humans do. The better we do against Memorial Foundation, the more it pushes them to write us off as a lost cause and prevent the complications we'll cause up here by killing us. You were so hard on them before. Forgiving your enemies is good. It's cruel to take us back, but they're trying to protect us, and they're the only ones who understand how hard it is. We knew we couldn't escape Earth's gravity, and I guess they know it too. That it's a war on their point, and they don't even have to worry. Is the chance worth it? I don't know. Where would you bet? On them. You should go. No. Not without you. No, dummy. Go so you can save me if I mess it up. And I'll stay in case you do. I don't trust them, but I trust you. Whichever of us is right, we deliver each other the future. Light blows through the iris. Fragments in the universe exists again, a place and a time. Clinging to each other in that place are Pluto and LUNA-TERRA, touching to remember they're alive. Broken, but alive. Oh, this entire chapter I've been, tearing up slightly. Got the honey not filios. Pluto, are you okay? Of course not. We were almost swallowed up by time and space, and I almost lost you again, and had to go through it all again. Everything. Me too. It was hard. It was so hard, but we did it. We messed up. There's no fixing it. But who cares? You're still here. I'll still fight you to the end, but just so I can know it's for real. So you can stay like this for a little if you want to. Yeah. It's January 30th, 1981, and the day is almost here. The deadline to save everyone who came up to space with us, fought with us, tried to bring everyone up with us. If we shut down the lunar gravity well, there won't be any choice left. The power that keeps our ship cells in check will fall apart, and we won't have anywhere else to go but home. If we kill the dream, no one will die. We really, really hope that's true. No one should die in space. No one should die, period. No one has to die, because ships are combat shimmering missiles of light, cosmic explosions, electricity that sears through the soul. Blade science is impossible for a human to produce. Dances of combat without end. A fight against ideas with toys. Humans would never show that sort of compassion to each other. Earth's answer is a simple atomic particle fired at near light speed directly into a cockpit core. A true weapon from a military force. The quickest, most efficient, instantaneous, unavoidable way to kill a human. The most boring possible way to pointlessly die. No drama, no meaning, just nothing. It's January 30th, 1981. In the end, they might get everything they want, in the way that no one wants. If we open up the lunar gravity well, then we can establish forever another Earth, and maybe another. We can inhabit the whole system, but that will cut humanity in two and more. The distance will be so much further. Everything will have been even farther from them. How much are we going to lose? How much will we never be able to give them? The moon is very close to being part of Earth. It's full of life, and humans can live on it. Feels impossible, and I don't want to give it up. We should break it off forever, shouldn't we? All I want is to stitch these two humanities together, but if one of us dies as a result, I will fight forever to keep that precious thing alive. It's January 30th, 1981. They don't name it because naming it gives it power, but not naming it gives it more. It must be every corner, behind every door, far, far away, in the spaces between stars. It is defined and categorised in every human culture, and it is deliberately omitted from explicit naming conventions by the Memorial Foundation in favour of a euphemism that's captivating to the imagination, such as existential threat, rather than a specific word that would stimulate the imagination. But a trick like this will not work. In the euphemism is a hollow void that can hold all fears and all possibilities. Through gravity, humans decide what is real and what is not. But what is not does not stop existing. And it, like humans, can decide. It's the kiss of impulse, everything that humans can imagine but can't become. The shortcut to attaining it is to forsake everything that humans already are. If a bunch of idiots get tricked into going there, it would make a very convenient enemy for Earth. That's no real fear. Before that happens, I will tell you a little secret. Ready? Day 7. Receiving report. Taking a swig of soda, trying not to spill it all over my front. Report data unverifiable. Awaiting manual acceptance. Report expected. Damage to Lagrange colony indicates most likely fulfillment of duties. Incoming alert all Memorial Foundation troops. Prepare for landing on moon base. Alert. Cradles, Graces and Celestial Mechanic troops have seized control of the Gravity's Well. We must prepare for the confrontation we have always feared. But there's still hope. We will bring everyone home, safe. We have Earth on our side. We will be prepared. Generating new assignments. Assignment, Scouting Mission. Verify status of Earth-controlled autonomous military units. Assignment, Free time. Spend as you wish before the final battle. Your record was clear. Indicate you've understood new orders. Yes. Ready for gravitational catapult? Welcome home. You've had more than a few fights with that Celestial Mechanics pilot at this point, haven't you? Yes, fights. Exactly. You've really met your match. In terms of troublesomeness, I think she has me beat. Do you know her? Saturn? A Generation 3 pilot. I was only in charge of combat operations, and the third generation never saw combat, even against the existential threat. Of course I knew her though. She was one of Yapetus' top candidates. He used a variety of methods to artificially jumpstart extreme tidal sensitivity and otherwise unremarkable pilot candidates. Thought none of it worked. The first ship cells had manual controls. To bridge the gap between your intentions and the energy of the tidal reactor is complex language, a conversation between yourself and the machine with advanced mathematics. You used your hands, but it is a fundamentally mental approach. Dr. Nix wanted to achieve communion with the soul. Yapetus, however, felt that direct interface with the body would be the most efficient. Teach the body, and the mind and soul would follow. Sounds dangerous. Also made up. It's all made up. There's nothing inherently wrong with using the body as a primary medium. Okay. However, he inflicted intentions of the ship selves on the pilots, rather than teaching them to express their intentions outward. He wanted subjects, not actors. It's impossible to read the rhetoric of his methodology any other way. Was Saturn particularly resistant? Is that why she was downgraded from primary candidate? No, she was intensely loyal, like another pair of hands and eyes for Yapetus. It was the opposite. She accepted all of those intentions perfectly. She was perfect. You see the problem, like you, don't you? A doll like that doesn't have the will to compete in tidal conflict. Why are you telling me this? He realised, in the end, he'd created someone as boring as he was. Took a long time for you to learn how to be a person, after having been forced to be someone else. Don't forget to be tender to Hellions. Don't forget how to be tender to Hellions, LUNA-TERRA. Subject, Lost Story. Origin, Ambient Tidal Forces. Author, A Rivalry. I was waiting for this chance. Me too. Thanks for obliging. Anytime, but I'd love for this to be the last time. Yeah? Do you have a plan for arranging that? Or are we just going to fight forever without end? Do you win when your ratio tips over 50%? It's climbing for sure. I can't deny it. You're slipping. Getting lazy? I'm just bored. I don't want to win an argument. I don't want to win a fight. I just wish you were dead, okay? Me too. I can't kill you, and I don't really want to either. Well, same. Man, don't talk like Neath. You know that pisses me off. Don't say their name then, maybe. Maybe they died because they were tired of having the same fight over and over again. You kidding? They lived for it. Man, what a bitch. I know, right? I really miss them. Me too. Want to fight about it? Man, geez, sure, I get it. Subject, fuck space. Author, a loss. You know what? Fuck space. It is complete garbage. The secret no one here ever wants to admit is that space is boring and empty, and it's desolate and lifeless. It's not romantic and it doesn't care about us. They embellish dull grey photographs of dust with beautiful colours to pull our heartstrings, but the reality is nothing but different shades of grey, the palest colours. But you know what? That's not even the most embarrassing part. The most embarrassing part is that humans can't do anything better than imagine space as just like Earth, but a little different, filled with people who are just like us, but a little different. Well, hey, guess what? That's just Earth, idiots. You're projecting. Why do you need space to think about Earth? Why are you ignoring all of the people and places on Earth that are like you, but a little different? Why is that dream more important than us? We're supposed to have dreams, but we're not supposed to just live in them. That's why I'm breaking up. I want to go home. I was looking at Steam reviews for this game, and somebody was saying that, like, oh, it's too pretentious, oh, it's too wordy, it's just like a bunch of horseshit, it's like a bunch of philosophical nonsense that doesn't make sense, and there's too much reading, and there's not enough story and combat, and I don't understand it. Actually, the criticism, I think, was valid. It's just that it seems like everything they appreciate in a game is not what's present in this game. And, like, in that case, sure, it's valid to dislike a game, but I don't think it makes it bad if it's, like, I don't think roguelikes are bad just because I don't like them and I'm not very good at them. Like, I'm sure they're great games, and I'm sure the people who enjoy them must have a lot of fun with them. Oh, clearly they do, given they're so popular. I just happen to not be a fan of that genre. I happen to be a fan of point-and-click games, and puzzle-solving games, and games which are told primarily with story in mind, like this one, which I think is designed to make you think and feel and be sad. And it pairs really, really well with If Found, which I may just play when I finish this game, because If Found is a short game and only takes about, like, 3 odd hours to play through. And I don't know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is here. I'm going to start with Plastic First Metal, because I want to do Give Me the Moon last, because of what it is. I think it's the best one to finish on. Earth has promised to let the children of space sort themselves out for now, but the machines have all guarded the way back home, just in case. When Saturn and LUNA-TERRA meet in a chance encounter, the true terror of humanity stares them down. The fleets are already in motion. Are you ready? No problem. I'm only worried about that trickster from Celestial Mechanics. No end of troubles. You don't sound too unhappy about that. Suppose that trouble will end soon, one way or another. It's simply recon this time, but it's on the near side of the moon. And Earth military is there with autonomous devices. They're in very high orbit, but they'll descend rapidly if they notice gravitational variability. The ship offers a shape intended for humans to exist in space, outside of Earth's pull. It isn't intended for war. The military is here with that most direct of intentions, so don't let them achieve it. Funny that the planetary sphere doesn't seem to think we're on the same side. There's nothing funny about it. We are not on the same side. We are complicating the problem. We can't let it go as much as Crises, Graces or Celestial Mechanics can't. Earth has graciously allowed us considerable leeway in dealing with the closing of the space program on our terms. Broken and naive as they find us, Memorial Foundation International begged them to let us try to bring the wayward children back home bloodlessly. So we should be thankful that they are just watching and not deciding to rout us. Most of Earth would find any loss of human life to space unacceptable, but less and less of Earth considers us fully human. So the mission isn't just to protect any stragglers from getting themselves killed by the forces we're trying to save them from. You don't think we can trust them? If I trusted them to handle it, I wouldn't have led you, the children of space, to fight this conflict. Do you think we can do it? Bring everyone back to Earth? There's a reason I'm not having you interfere with the opening of the gravity well. Everyone will be in one place, at least. What Celestial Mechanics and Cradle's Graces hope will be their salvation could be ours, too. We're on a tight deadline for something that might be impossible. Win what's in front of you, and worry about that later. They hide together in the peaceful moon's winter night. It's winter on the near side of the moon, which means it'll be half a month before this hemisphere sees day again. The frosted forest will see spring in a week, summer the week after, and fall the week after that. A year of seasons in a month-long day. Even terraformed, could humans live like that? On the near side though, at least the Earth will always be in the sky, eternally huge, shining with authority and kindness, unlike its agent, who hangs in the corner of the sky like a migraine aura. There's nothing extraneous about its shape. It is here to do just two things: look, then kill. When Saturn flew a millimetre too high, the autonomous military unit looked, then killed, but just too slow, and LUNA-TERRA pushed her away and dragged them both deep in the winter forest. The unit looks twice as hard. It's been encouraged to not miss twice. Shh, don't make a sound. You're being too noisy. I get that a lot, but this time I'm not making any noise, so don't tell me to be quiet. You're the one flitting all over the place. There's a need for gravity. Vibrations aren't the kind of noise that they care about. So keep moving and don't make noise in your heart. Don't make a sound in all possible senses. Don't make a sound physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Calm down. They don't like it if you're calm, not calm. First of all, that makes no sense, and secondly, I refuse. I don't think you should die, so think of something else to do instead, because they can kill you. Unlike me or any ship's elf. So think about as little as you can, okay? And keep your tidal reactor's output to a minimum. It helps to make yourself be like an object. You'll be a thing rather than thing that other things happen to, rather than an agent. That's what it's looking for, agency, so we can make it cease immediately. You know, I'm absolutely super good at that. I have a lot of experience with it, so I'm absolutely not going to. Well, me too. That's why I suggested it. But you're right, I shouldn't have suggested it like that. How about this instead? Start by thinking about the Earth. The autonomous device becomes visible instantaneously. It doesn't look anything like a ship's elf and bears no resemblance to a human shape, because there's no intention for its design to accommodate humans. That's the opposite of what it does. It has nothing to express, only a function to perform. What do I do? Probably thought too hard about Earth, but all the same. So creepy. It's supposed to represent Earth. Doesn't even look like humans made it. Really? I think it's rather appropriate that it doesn't look human at all. They can detect an artificial gravity reactor, but they don't really know what to do unless they can knock a target and kill it. So if it can't verify what it is, it won't do anything. It feels so heavy suddenly. What is this? I'm telling you, that's the Earth. Real gravity. It's very, very heavy. You can feel its authority? That's the gulf between us and a planet. I know that. I guess it feels really different to feel it in person. You were saying, a way to avoid it? Do you remember being a normal kid, even for a little bit? Or do you remember the last time you acted convincingly like one? Obviously. I was a really good kid, you know? It's checking gravity against a script. And it thinks, sorry, it doesn't think. It just checks that variance. Aren't I pretty excessively varied by now? Just wait there a second. It's hard to teach on the spot. It's not that I don't know the idea. How are you so good at it? Sounds like you kind of hate that I am. I promised I wouldn't die, but I'm mad I have to do this. LUNA-TERRA crawls slowly through the frostbitten green crater to where Saturn is curled amongst the cold desert junipers. The dark, scarcely perceptible dot monitors them in the pale earthlight, so precisely waiting. It's easier to hide if their ship cells are turned off, or as close to that as the ship cells can be. So they climb outside, to the cold lunar winter, to wait. I'm here. Are you doing okay? No, obviously, I'm scared. Me too. So forget what I said. I hate doing that too. You warm, laying there? You're not warm at all, but at least your boobs are soft. The autonomous unit doesn't like flirting, huh? You should think instead about how you're keeping a secret. Keeping it really close. Waiting for the perfect moment. And no one else can know. Okay, I can do that. That's not as bad. Is it that big a difference? There is infinite difference between someday and never. I've extremely forgotten how to be patient, but I know the difference. You're right. It really is important to never forget. It's still not going away. Yeah, it's a lot more patient than us, huh? It's looking at you too. Aren't you on their side? Just because we want Earth back doesn't mean Earth wants us back. So Memorial Foundation really is that stupid. Maybe. In their eyes, we're as bad as you. So I go back, because fuck them. They don't want anything to do with us. Memorial Foundation thinks it's optimal for humanity to return, but I think many humans think it'd be just fine if we died. That just makes me want to come back to Earth even more. Ah, spite I can understand. Huh, I can be petty too. I want back, even if only for spite. We'll bring them back a little taste of what it's like to be us. They're afraid we might bring something back with us, and they should be, much more than they already are. That's what I want. Knowing that you're just as petulant and petty as me, and this week too, makes me want to reconsider you. In a good way. It's wonderful. Makes me want to fall in love. Oh. Huh. I said maybe. Don't get too full of yourself. Sorry. There's no way we're getting any more than half of what you want at best. You're only hoping for half of what you want, so I wonder if you'll even get that, if you get it. I don't expect things to go my way, but, you know, I hope you're coming along, wherever it is. Truer than you know, LT. Whichever way we go, we're going together. In this cosmic glow, we're not going wherever we're going together. I love you. Get used to me now. You made me go upside down on purpose again. You're so good at evasion, but scoring a direct hit is so easy. You win. It'll be nice to see the end of every world with this one alongside you. See, the machine's already bored. Not bored, but uncomprehending, and then it lost interest. But I'll stay here with you until it leaves for good. Because flight or fright, petty pitch to petty bitch, lab rat to upperclassman brat. What, really? Do you maybe love me too? Oh, they really are the triad of my dreams. It does a big, sad sniff. Did you notice, LUNA-TERRA? Our base now isn't far from the Sea of Crises, where your ship self was made and you first sorted. It's nostalgic, isn't it? It is, isn't it? Reminds me when we were fighting some theoretical alien existential threat and not each other. Would you prefer those days? I don't think so. No, I definitely wouldn't. I like being less stupid. Fighting with people is better than not even thinking about people at all, instead of fantasies. Aren't you going to say that's still your problem? I know when I drilled you like little soldiers, I taught you the opposite too well, but I wouldn't mind if you had second thoughts. Europa, do you feel guilty? We should all feel guilty, but me and my peers especially. We caused this conflict to be played out, and we failed to teach you well enough to endure it. The future we hoped you would live in was much too childish for you. I know. I'm not upset about that, or I would never have come back here by your side again. I don't want your guilt, or my guilt. What do you need, LUNA-TERRA? I would like you to give me your orders, without guilt or regret or expectation. Of course. Though I've raised you terribly, LUNA-TERRA, I've also always been quite proud of you. She's always been so good at scary. Can't deal with good kids. That was Nyx's job. Ha, true. But I don't hear a reason to trust you. Me? Are you going to ground me? You're my student, LUNA-TERRA. I don't have to trust you. Trusting you is not my concern. I can't keep you out of trouble anymore, or even tell you what to do. I can only advise my last remaining student. Whether you listen to me or not, to that girl or not, whether you fulfill your duty to Memorial Foundation or betray us once more. You're getting too permissive in your old age. I've always been permissive, and I've always been old. Thought you said I was in charge. I will advise you no matter what decision you make, LUNA-TERRA, and not quietly. Then what's your advice, since I'm just going to do it? Don't get out dealing with your ex by indulging your death wish. She's not my ex. Were you not together? Or is it not over? My advice is to not leave things ambiguous this time. Subject: the existential threat. It was composed of solid light and arrived in multitudes. They never arrived in the same shape, pattern, or texture twice. They were memorable but indistinct. They were like and unlike things that we have seen on Earth, and they could not be touched, except through gravity. We could not determine where they came from, but they always headed towards Earth. We feared what would happen if they passed into Earth too much to learn what their intentions for coming here were, and our pilots had defeated them, without fail, without any hesitation, without resistance, flawlessly, beautifully, obviously. The truth has always been that the existential threat is much weaker than humans, no matter what we call it, and there was a refusal to name precisely at all times the substance and nature of the existential threat, first of all by referring to it as the existential threat, Memorial Foundation international jargon, rather than by common local cultural names. From the failures of the Scout program on Earth, there was a desire to both separate the pilots as much as possible from earthly preconceptions. We did this to understand the new ways in which our pilots could be human, and we did this also to understand how the existential threat would change in corresponding ways, complementing their new humanity. Existential threats are always weaker than us, but they have ways that we do not, and they are always waiting in the corners of the world, looking to overcome us in other ways. In the case of the existential threat as existed in space, we created a weapon, the Crew Macula, powerful enough to defeat them once and for all, single-handedly, and we did so, and we lost every reason to be in space, and we ended all mystery and possibility. So it is surprising that, in filling the void, it became the pilots who took the role of existential threat, as is known to occur on rare occasions on Earth. Big sniff. Big sad sniff. It's time to move to the future, peacefully or plainly. No factions, no dreams, just two girls lost and entwined in the warm summer of the moon's day. New orders, LUNA-TERRA. Get out for a while. What? Oh, really? You don't mean me on standby? Yes, but you're making everyone anxious. The pacing and sighing is becoming melodramatic. Even worse, some of the girls are beginning to find it very attractive. Show them some mercy and give yourself a break, please. Sorry about that. I just snapped at one of the deck mechanics. I am getting tired. I know, and it's given her a disgusting crush on you, so please leave before more of my crew become compromised. Still don't get why that happens. It's because everybody likes the Dawn. That you don't is less of a saving grace than you might think. Well, I suppose LUNA-TERRA really is ultimate switcher. It's good that you're not full of yourself, but you have no awareness of your own value. I'm aware. It's not a mystery to me why someone would like to earn the approval of someone who treats them as if they don't deserve it. It's an intoxicating feeling. So why do they think I wouldn't want that too? I'm just as greedy and childish. It annoys me. I'm not an invincible monster. I need the same things. Oh, grow up. You're no different than any of my other girls. You're the only one who thinks you actually have to be this made-up person. What, you think you're going to teach Pluto to not take on the burdens of those she cares about, when you can't even throw you off your own, entirely self-inflicted ones? You know my girls aren't stupid enough not to see what a fool you are alongside your strength. They wouldn't find you so charming otherwise. Didn't you learn anything from your terrible relationship with my tragically pathetic niece? I, learned to not pretend I could give someone what she wanted. Wrong. You should have learned that just because someone likes you doesn't mean they don't also know that you're an idiot. No one needs you to be stronger. You need to let yourself be weaker. Do that quickly, so I don't have to hear any more complaints. From you or those girls. Aren't you tired of hearing them yourself? It's mid-afternoon, but only half the sky knows it. The burnt gold fades into reds, pinks, purples, and night at the edge where the moon's terraforming abruptly ends. It's such an outlandish light, like standing in the middle of a day and night. An unsteady feeling to be on the precipice of a hole between a world and not a world. The boundary between Earth and space is here. Terraforming engines dutifully pour blue, white and green into the craters and barren rock, the elements of air, water and life. It will continue until the moon is the Earth and the Earth is the moon, cosmologically, philosophically, literally, the long-awaited unification of LUNA-TERRA. I want to watch it forever, even though it's not going to keep going forever. There's a pleasure in watching something happen slowly, like keeping track of the moon in the night sky. You can see it happening inch by inch. You have to be patient, but it's such a satisfying feeling. LUNA-TERRA looks up from her resting spot on Mare Crisium's foot. You ever watch it like this, Pluto? I thought I'd finally snuck up on you for once. I'm still not as crafty as Saturn. Darn. You were pretty close before I noticed you. Could have been surprised if you really wanted a surprise attack. I wanted to see how long you trust me with your back. How'd I do? Great, until you tried to be clever at the end. Whoops. I'm definitely going to get yelled at again. You got yelled at? Like I was in the academy again. It wasn't great. I wish I could have seen it. I'm glad you didn't. I've seen all your most embarrassing expressions, but I never got tired of seeing more. It's no use hiding them from me. Fine, I give up. Wow, you should get humbled more often. It's making you really cute. You don't want to fight this time? I was hoping we'd do it honestly, for real, for once. It might be our last chance for that sort of fight. I was thinking that too, but it's our last chance to take a walk like this. Today I want to do that instead. It's not like the end of walks are at stake. There's going to be more walks, LUNA-TERRA. But not exactly like this. I like it in the middle of things. The stillness of change. And the hearts and the in-betweens. So like you to be rooting for them, Lunity. Okay though, because you asked. You never ask for anything, so you should get it when you do. Come with me. I want to show you something. What they find is a waterfall, or something that's trying to be a waterfall. The rushing water flows through the canyon until the atmosphere becomes too thin and the sun becomes so bright it turns to vapour and dissolves. A rush of water stopping abruptly, yet very slowly. The point where it stops is moving forward. Eventually the atmosphere will take hold and the sun won't be able to strip the air of water from the moon. It's one of the last valleys left where space is still here, where nothing and inverse still exists, instead of everything and us. I thought it'd make you happy. You love lilacs still? Oh wow, they grow so fast here. I wonder how. I think the seasons are playing tricks with them. But look, they're trying to go right into the line of the sun. You can follow the trail until they burn in the sunset. They'll keep crawling until they reach the valley. It's so unbelievable. Humans can overcome even this. Just lights like this still make you feel kind of sad? A little, but humans deserve it, so I can't stay upset. This won't be the moon anymore, but part of the earth. And I want to hold the human and the alien together. We'll lose something if we don't. I wish it could be in that middle place forever. We grasp for something new, but we lose everything we touch. I just want lilacs, and a home. A space with room for us, wherever that is. How much would you give up to have that? A lot. How much would you? All I would need is to make the choice. All I would need to make that choice is for you to make me feel that way, Lunity. How do I do that? Convince me everything is going to be okay. That we won't be losing anything, even though we will. Make me feel that way once again. Well, we're no stronger than, smarter, more perfect than any human beings on Earth, first of all. Second, there's no place more beautiful on the moon than anywhere on Earth. Really, think. Nothing else in the universe looks that different, that beautiful, that incredible. Third, touching ship to ship isn't any different than touching body to body. We can speak that same language with just our flesh. It's just a metaphor anyway. You can be human anywhere. That we did it up in space just means we can do it back on Earth too. We know the language. First, we never would have been allowed to grow up like we did here back on Earth. Second, space is cool. Third, giant robots are possibly cool, and nothing you can possibly say will change that fact. We're all we have. The world made me awful, and I had to fight so hard just to be professionally recognised as human. So I don't know why I miss it so bad. I wish you could tell me. My standards, probably bad. This part will sound stupid, but I don't want to believe that we couldn't also be happy on Earth, no matter how good the future is, that our happiness isn't that fragile. You know, you say you have very little faith, but I think you have more than me. You don't want to give up. You have so much faith you want to keep going, even if you believe it's totally pointless. You're obscenely stubborn. Things could be much different. You and me especially. We are very, very lucky. If we'd been born in space, we would have been even luckier. But you only get so much. I worry about what we would have been like if that hadn't happened. For me or for you. If what hadn't happened. Would it have taken us even longer? I already feel like I became a person too old. Would we spend our lives without ever... Luna. We'd have found another way. Somehow. In Earth or space, no one is ever born whole. We got there eventually, didn't we? I think so too. I'd like to believe that no matter what, we could live and be happy. Even in mortal bodies, on our boring, awful home. I mean, they can't undo what we've done. When they take us back, they'll have to make us part of them. Isn't that the simplest, sneakiest way to get everything we always wanted? You really make me believe sometimes, LUNA-TERRA. Giant robots are still really cool though. Well, I tried. Maybe it worked. It might be too late, but maybe it convinced me. You know I trust you, even when I can't. Come on, let's go smell the flowers. I want to touch them. I want to see if they're as pretty as I remember from Earth. It's not quite 9.8 miles per second squared yet, here on the moon, but it's getting there, and the lilacs smell wonderful and they're soft, and the air and the water is like a dream. The real thing. You're really warm, and you're really cold. Still, you're right. Skin to skin isn't ship to ship, but it's nice too. Feels exactly the same in a different way. More or less. I missed you so much. I'm here. I'm right here. You really are. You're really still so bold, LUNA-TERRA. I mean, I'm teasing. Oh, okay. Ooh, honey nut Cheerios. That doesn't mean I'm also not offering. You're so mean to me. But you love it. You can be so strong when you're trying not to be strong. I knew you'd choose us in the end. Even if you didn't choose me. All that matters is that you're coming home. Hi, Hallie. Hello? I'm here. I was just startled. Why are you replying? Since you keep messaging me, I thought you'd be less surprised. Sorry about that. Oh, don't start. I'll literally never ever forgive you. Sure. That's fine. I'm not apologising to you. You have so much to apologise for, but it's only to me. But are you saying sorry about something else you're trying to do? Maybe. There's a compromise I want you to consider. I should have expected one more betrayal, even at the end. No, it's more like, I want to make sure that you hold up your end of the bargain. No negotiation. Terms of surrender must be unequivocal. That's the only way they'll allow us to return. Really, it's not a change to the deal at all. Just asking about how we interpret them. You shouldn't, because I'm going to stop you if you pull anything. Really, I will, very easily. Don't worry about that part. Well, in that case, I'm not going to be sorry at all. You should know that shame is what you've earned, and bear it. No, I didn't think so. I think you took away what I needed to be happy. I think I have to learn a new way. It doesn't seem fair that I have to, when you don't. I have been learning. It's been hard. It's even less fair. You shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't get to move past this. Sorry, you're not sorry. I'm taking this anyway. They're giving you everything you say you want. So what do you really want? Even knowing I got away fine? Wouldn't you feel guilty if you got something special and never shared it? Memorial Foundation does not have the power, or the courage, or the hope. They have experience and numbers, and that still matters. It matters the most because the gravity well is whimpering, sputtering, and Earth's tactics, strategic and realistic, are favoured. The weapons are kinetic. They don't fight with anything dreamlike or unique. All they have to do is a simple job. A fight between giant robots can only be so realistic, but that's the best they know how to do. They've never fought on Earth, after all. The gravity well is successfully commandeered by the Memorial Foundation. The limits are made clear. They were rockets built always for entry back home, and to take everyone with them. Halimidi and the Losokai soars in glory, holding the dying gravity well in her arms. Through it, she extends the logic of Earth to every tidal reactor, the exact gravitational constant that determines human to be human. LUNA-TERRA, you've done so well. You've been so good. You're still going to betray us? Europa told me to expect it. I won't. Like I promised. Even if the rest of the pilots may not forgive me, they're coming home now too. Is that a problem? I thought it was happiness for all, no one left behind. Emphasis on the no one left behind, because the first is too hard. We have to be careful, you know that. They think we're more trouble than we're worth. There's a really simple, easy solution to this becoming another existential threat. A simple way to defeat it and prevent it. When they indulged the Memorial Foundation's plea for an alternative to their method, the one used from the beginning of humanity to the present day, they allowed us. Because we made the promise of submitting without complaint. That's true. Europa never failed to remind me the Earth could just decide to kill us. Earth cannot be divided. We're meant to be one. Earth is an anchor in space-time for us. It wasn't always like that. We started from zero. We had to carve out our place in the universe, bit by bit. We have to move ever forward, marching in progress. As culture marches forward, so does our gravity increase. We need each other, and we need this culture, this gravity, to make us together. I agree. Humans need to come together. LUNA-TERRA immediately fires a solid light bullet into the gravity well with straight mechanism, and the gravity well implodes back to life. In the middle of the victorious fleet, communication immediately falls apart as space-time and electromagnetic forces tear through them. You finally did it, LUNA-TERRA. Something so damn I don't have time to get mad before I save you from it. You could have at least told me that this is what you're planning. I would have, but I wasn't planning this until 10 minutes ago. Hey, I didn't even cut it back once. Tell me you've thought up something good. I'll follow you, even to the bad ending. But not if you've got nothing other than this depressing conclusion. I'd hate to have to let you do that, baby. Hands reach from behind her and hold the bell gently, easily, as as Halimedi's fingers shatter. What? Traitor! Sorry, I'm just borrowing it. You're not sorry now, and you weren't sorry then. I think you might really wish you were sorry. I want to believe you want to be sorry, but that's not good enough. Certainly much too late for it. I wish instead of wanting to be sorry, you just wouldn't be able to be happy again. I can't do that. Then please, deny this. Your silky is made almost entirely of constantly reflecting hard light. It emits from every angle at light speed a drowning torrent, a reversed vacuum, a void of energy, an unignorable and undeniable drainage, a light substance and pressure and weight of water. The heaviness is unbearable, to LUNA-TERRA especially. Yet it's so familiar, it's impossible to escape. Automatically, she falls right in. No matter what terrible things you've done, you've never forgotten exactly what you deserve for them. That's how you can make it up. That's how you should make it up. At least, not in the same way. Which I know now. I thought I would die before. But the nice thing is, if you don't die from this, you go up. Even if it feels unfair. Are you suffering? LUNA-TERRA reaches her own hands as close as she can to the gravity line. Her own tidal reactor howls and creaks with the strain of not falling in. It isn't interested in LUNA-TERRA's dreams. It just wants to have everything. The infinite wish of humanity, Earth's pure greed, the white void, the all-consuming gravity that erases all distinction. Pluto can barely keep the light at bay. Tears into Pluto with perfect synchronicity. Memorial Foundation has been waiting for this transit unit designed to defeat them. The one that reminds them of everything they can't have. She's drowning, but her fingers are still reaching, still holding the dying gravity in. The true enemy are the fast approaching autonomous defense units. Unlike a ship's hull, they're designed with war in mind. As Halimedi says, these are the easiest options just to kill us. The option they're most eager to take. No wonder they felt the ship's hull program was just a fanciful indulgence. They're surprised then when Saturn tears them to pieces. I guess you were right. For hell, I'm sure you were. You made it sound like it's going to be a lot harder. Pluto, you've been a good influence on her. Like how I've been a bad one. We're really suited for hopeless women like that, aren't we? Thanks, Saturn. It'll just be a little longer. Don't ignore my nonsense. When this is over, I'm not going to forget it. Sure. You can tease me all you want if we win. You're not very inspiring. I'll be super inspiring if we win, so let's do that first. Saturn poisons the waters. She corrupts the information. What washes over Pluto is muddy, pink, toxic, and definitely bad for you, but at least it doesn't want to eat you alive in the name of love. It just wants to mess you up in a good way, and let you mess it up too. The destabilization has gone successfully so far, and the gravity well is diminished and weak and dying fast. That's okay though, it's enough for a little wish. The greatest trick is to just move 1 inch forward. The only trick. Change the physics by a decimal point. In a secret place where they won't notice. Equivalent to inventing a new Earth is changing the acceleration due to gravity by 0.01 miles per second squared. That is something that is impossible, even with the gravity well. The Earth is Earth and will bind everything to it. Except there is nearby body, in perfect sync, inseparable and distinct, and through its orbit its tides influence in subtle ways the life of Earth. I understand now. This is something I want too. You coming up with this idea is just the worst. Why couldn't you just be a bad person with bad ideas and wicked dreams? And it's impossible now. Who would want to give up the moon for the Earth? If we lose, we'll really look like idiots and we'll live alone on a lifeless moon. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. The moon is to be abandoned too unless you bring it into such inseparable closeness. No, stop convincing me. This sucks. I still hate you, but fine. Live on the moon, away from me, forever. Losukai such the vow. Earth rips around inside her, but the gravity well, already compromised, begins to glow to life again. For a little bit longer, Earth can't touch her, can't shut it down. Left to its own devices, the gravity well will bring all things together. Of all the fabulous Dream Tech and Memorial Foundation International Space Program, the gravity well, which brings together matter, light, and culture, is the strongest execution of their dream. And a pathetically mistaken one too. The gravity well brings things closer until they pass through the event horizon, and then can never return to the universe again. The limit where even information can't return. Whether it's a good universe or a terrible one, LUNA-TERRA doesn't intend to find out. She's hopelessly attached to this universe. What we do want is to get a little closer. I thought you said you could find a way to be happy in any kind of future. I think that works only if we try really hard to make it not suck first. See, she gets it. Well, it's not like I think it went well. The gravity well is sufficiently strong, it is true. It'll eat away at the tidal forces of the Earth. Math is like the gravitational forces of the Earth change somewhere in the billionth place. How about the 100th? That's definitely super impossible. I think we move the centre of gravity between the Earth and the Moon. We pull a little, then we pull a lot. We pull until our bodies fall apart. I think then we can get a shift in the 100th place, and bring a little bit of what we made here back home. It's a very generous kindness, and also an extremely petty act of revenge. Yes, I want to pay the price, and they should pay it too. The worst thing I can imagine is to live and die without being born. A future that is won against the unrestrained weight of the world. But don't worry, I'm not planning to do this just to lose. I'm stacking the deck, coming back to Earth, just like you wanted, and bringing everything back with me. I have modest ambitions. I choose the future I'm most frightened by, the one that crushes me into the pull of Earth's gravity. I don't want to wonder if I got away with it. I want to know that I could survive even this. Doesn't make a very good argument, does it? But you know, Earth is sweet, even for someone like me, who's better at playing pretend than the real thing. No planet has a moon like this. No planets have sunset and life like this. The romance and beauty is down here, too. The romance and beauty is human all along. If we found something new in space, it was something we achieved. Not these endlessly dead rocks separated. God. Someone commenting on this was like, choose the MF ending, you'll cry. Boy howdy, ain't that the truth? Not these endlessly dead rocks separated by unfathomable distances. You can't just find it somewhere. You have to do the work. Yet, I want a reminder. A memento. And I want Earth to remember. It's not an omnipotent tyrant king. Many in one. Earth has a sister, and that sister is you. LUNA-TERRA doesn't hear the alarm. Her body knows exactly when it's supposed to wake up, and she does. She doesn't have to wake up this early anymore, but her body has a hard time letting her go back to sleep. She wakes up, tries to focus her eyes. Her head hurts, just a little. So she thinks she'll go ahead and make coffee. Except Saturn's own is tugging at her shut, and Pluto's legs are tangled up in hers. So maybe she can't make coffee just yet. She warms out the comforter as much as she can. The apartment's summer air conditioning keeps it nice and cool, but the summers here are hot, and so are the girls. Maybe if she tries really hard, she can go back to sleep, but it's hard. It's always hard with the sun still there, but especially with just the hum of the AC, and everyone slow breathing, and the light shiver of sweat. Hey dude, wake up. Hey, don't pull me back into bed. Pluto, stop her. But I want to see who wins. You're the one who wants to make breakfast. You made me wake her up. Don't act like it's not your problem. None of you were up when I was up, so it's time to sleep forever. That's what I said. Also, you're very clearly awake, so let's go. No, Pluto. I'm making breakfast though. I already turned on the stove. It's fine, it'll just burn the house down. Help me stop Saturn. Okay. You traitor. You betrayed yourself. It's enough out of you. Come get some coffee, Lunity, before you get a headache over it. You're really such a fake. It's for serious. You two, you switch sides really easily. So do you. Up again. Alright, you're helping me make breakfast. What? How come she gets to sleep in? She'll be right behind us. She was. LUNA-TERRA shivered for a second, bare under the AC. And then she got up. She turned the light cancelling off on the windows, and the day, which will last for the rest of the month, poured in, which she can feel a minute of, before she wants to get breakfast too. On the near side of the moon, the Earth will always be visible. Without the hands of her old body, she won't ever be able to fly or feel the view as anything but a picture ever again. Even the memories are fading. But the moon is closer. So close there's almost no difference between it and the Earth. It's another country, a strange country, and the Earth is too. mentioned this on Discord, but at the start of the week I started new medication, and as usual whenever I start medication it's making me exhausted and it's also destroying my emotions. At the moment my internal chemistry is completely broken, but I don't think that's the only reason why I started crying. God, this game is so good. I think I need to replay it a bunch of times to think on why I love it so much, but I think it's a game designed to appeal to people who feel out of place, who don't belong in their bodies, who are always struck by the longing to want to be elsewhere, who never feel like anywhere is quite right, and at the same time are struck for the longing for something else, some other form of existence. It just captures that feeling really well. Okay, I'm going to end stream now because I'm just going to keep crying for a bit. I'll be streaming Destiny tomorrow, doing this story if there's any of that, maybe trying out Harbinger again. Final Fantasy XIV on Tuesday. Last race to Mogstones before 5.5, Tuesday after next. Next Thursday we'll be starting Higurashi When They Cry. Fuck if I can remember what the chapter is. It's the one that the next one along. I should probably check what the answer is, shouldn't I? Probably swap to my end screen as well, huh? And stop sniffling so ugly. Tsukiyo Toshi, that's what we're doing next week, Higurashi. Then next Saturday will be more Heaven Will Be Mine, where we will be playing through the Pluto route. So take care, have a wonderful evening, do look after yourselves and be excellent to each other. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you guys tomorrow.